to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the...
Good evening and welcome to Match Day Live. Newcastle United take on our stadium, and I'm joined as always by a panel of great fans: Al Walid, Chris, Daz, Martin, Papa, Tunnel, Kieran, Rich, and Holly. And it'll be Holly who will be presenting the show tonight. Big welcome to you, Dunnell. First time. Just tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Newcastle, obviously. I live, west end of Newcastle. And I'm an accountant by trade. Yeah. Married, 2 kids. And love football, like to keep myself in shape. And like yourselves, support Newcastle United.
Good. So what was your first game, Dunnell?
My first game that I went to was actually in 1990 at Boothbury Park, Hull.
And what was the score?
It was 2-1. Mark McGee scored for us. We lost, but Mark McGee scored for us. And
that'll have been the season. That'll have been the playoff season then, 1989-90, when we got to the playoffs.
No, 1990.
Or was it the season before?
No, season after.
Oh, the season after. Okay, when we didn't do so well and Jim Smith got the bullet. Yeah.
Yeah, bald eagle, yeah.
Good stuff, mate. Well, good to have you on. As I've already said, Holly is taking control tonight. Everyone's getting a bit of a turn to present the show. So, Holly, there you are. You're in the hot seat.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, happy to be hosting tonight. Hopefully it goes well.
Good stuff. I'm sure it will. Well, I'll stick the team up for you and away you go.
So, tonight, obviously, we're playing Leicester City away. In goal, we have Martin Dubravka. Then in defence, we have Jacob Murphy's high up there, but I'm assuming he'll be playing in midfield, I guess. Emil Kraft, Federico Fernandez, Paul Dummett, Matt Ritchie, John Joe Shelby, who has the captain's armband, Joe Willock's coming back into the side, Miguel Almiron, Alan Saint-Maximin and Callum Wilson. Then on the bench, we have Mark Gillespie, Kieran Clark, Andy Carroll, Joe Linton, Dwight Gale, Jamal Lewis, Jeff Hendrick, Javier Manquillo and Sean Longstaff. It looks to be 5-4-1, I think. I don't know if anyone else has different opinions. So I'll start with you, Steve. What's your thoughts on the lineup?
To be honest, as soon as I saw Emil Kraft, I've added another goal onto my prediction, and it's not a positive one. But I mean, looking at that team, attacking wise, it looks great on paper, doesn't it? Willock back in now, probably at the expense of everybody who we thought was going to get dropped got dropped. Sean Longstaff ends up on the bench. He's never going to drop John Joe Shelby. He's got the captaincy while Jamal Lascelles is out the team. So there had to be a change in the centre of midfield because it was awful last weekend. So Sean's the fall guy. Great to see Willock back in. So yeah, Willock, Almiron, Alan Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson. I think most people would say that is the right forward line, but it's whether it gels, whether it knits together. I've made the point on most of the shows this week that, believe it or not, I really didn't want to see Joe Linton get dropped because he's a big strong lad. Defenders don't like big men, strong men running at them. He could chest the ball down, he can hold the ball up. He was just getting into his stride, and now he finds himself on the sidelines. And really, we're trying to put square pegs in round holes, and we're trying to accommodate all 3 attacking players by playing one of them out of position. Alan Saint-Maximin's we're not getting the best out of him. As a result, Almiron suffers, and then Callum Wilson ends up isolated up front. So although that looks the best on paper, it doesn't work out to be the best formation. And I just think Joe Linton should have started. I don't think it would have mattered today because Leicester are such a good team. Their midfield worries me. James Maddison's being featured at the moment on Sky. He's the big worry. Talented player. Vardy, whenever he's on a lean spell, always comes up against Newcastle. And Iniacho, he's the form player at the moment. We've got big problems tonight, and we didn't need to add to their the problems by putting Kraft in at the back. And as I say, we've said it. You don't like to pick players out for criticism, but Kraft's let we down time and time again, and I really don't understand it. And if Shelby plays as badly as he did last weekend, this could be 4 or 5-0 because Leicester will be looking to make a statement tonight. Dubravka is going to be the busiest man on the pitch, I believe. If we get anything out of this game, it'll be a miracle, and I'll be over the moon, and I'll be happy to eat humble pie. But I just don't think for 1 minute we're going to be able to get anything other than nil out of this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Joelinton would have been a better choice going forward, but it's not looking good and Leicester have got a really strong team out tonight. So, Rich, what's your thoughts? Is there anyone you would have changed in that side?
Well, I wouldn't have had Crafton for a start. I probably would have had Clark in with this obviously been lead at centre half with Shaw being suspended from he's sending off last week. And to be fair, still wouldn't have had John Joe Shelvin, but as Steve rightfully said, with him being captain, having the armband, he's going to be the first name on the team sheet, unfortunately. I'm a little bit disappointed that Matty Longstaff and Elliot Anderson haven't been even put on the bench. I thought this is the sort of time of the season where, yes, we're 9 points clear for relegation, and there's relegation done, and we should be safe from there. But this, especially with it being a free hit for us as well, really. They need game time and stuff like that, and our midfield's going to get overrun tonight. I think with Madison and Ndidi, I think they'll just run the park tonight. And I just think, especially having Matty Longstaff having a bit more legs in there as well, would be a good addition later on when we're trying to probably keep the score down. Unfortunately, I did predict a draw the other night, but with Kraft being picked, seriously, I just think it's going to be. I'm dreading what the score might be. I just don't have any faith in Kraft whatsoever.
I think most of us feel the same, to be fair. I don't think you're alone in that. So, Kieran, what do you make of it? Is anyone you would have liked to see in the side?
Well, for me, this has got the potential to get really messy tonight, in my opinion. I can't see why Emil Kraft has been brought in. I don't really understand the logic in that. We all know that he's bad in that position, and let alone that position, he can't really play at right back, can he? So I mean, I just think we're going to get. It's going to be at least three or four tonight, in my opinion. I'm not confident whatsoever. I'm pleased Willock's back in the team. To be fair, I think I would have personally dropped Almiron and put him in the number 10 because I don't think Almiron just been that effective the last few games. But that's just my opinion. But at least he's back in.
No more confident than usual, then, Kieran.
No, you know me by now, don't you?
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
So, Alvalid, does anyone you would like to see in the side? What do you make of the lineup that Steve Bruce has put out tonight?
Hi all. Regarding Kraft, I think the reason from Mr. Steve Bruce, we have to call him Mr. this time because he's nominated Coach of the Month, I think, because he would like to give more attacking role to Jacob Murphy, so Kraft could play right back and centre back. The things I'm worried about, usually I feel, even with their mistakes, but usually I feel more safe when I see Jamal Lascelles or Clark in the centre back, and neither of them in the squad, in the lineup. Sorry, so I am worried about that. Joe Willock, he will start today, and it's a long time I think since he started from the beginning. I wish even if he didn't score or didn't play well, I wish if we don't judge him or we just call him like super substitution, because it doesn't necessarily that he will score tonight. For me, I'm worried also about Leicester City lineup. Ignacio, Vardy, and Tielemans. They are very, very dangerous players. So if our attack will be the same as Arsenal or previous games, when we see Almiron with get back in behind, we are. I don't see us winning this match.
Yeah, I think most of the panels seeming quite negative tonight. Certainly on the top of the panel. Let's see if the bottom panel's any more positive. So, coming to you, Donnell. Nice having you face on the show. Hope you enjoy your first match day live. And what do you think of tonight's lineup against Leicester?
Right, I'll have to go after just concentrating on the centre of the park. I think we're a bit soft. There's no energy there. Willock will give the energy, but I would have thought somebody like Matty Longstaff, who would be snapping at, say, James Maddison, because we give somebody like James Maddison too much space, he will tear us apart. Because that kid he's a quality player, but you give any player space, they're going to tear you apart. But if we'd had the two young legs in there, I'm sure they would have done a bit more closing. So I would say we have to, from the off, go on the press. Early press. Don't let Leicester settle. If we let Leicester settle on the ball, then that is it. It's hasta la vista, is what I'll say to that. So, I'm not that confident either in terms of, because Leicester are a different beast compared to when we used to play them many, many years ago. So,
Yeah. So, coming to you now, Pete, is there anyone you would have put on that side? Are you happy to see Willock back in the team?
Yeah, really happy to see him back in the team. I think it was a must to bring him back in. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that, looking at the personnel in the team, we could have gone for the split striker today. I think Kieran's mentioned about Almiron and one or two others that he's not been playing well, and he hasn't, to be honest. But we know he plays well in that number 10, and having that split striker role and playing sort of Almiron, Wilson, St. Maximin as that front three, the midfield as a three, and having four at the back, I think that would have really given us some like strengths on the counter attack, which is where we're going to get our goals tonight. If we're going to score tonight, it's on the counter attack, and I think with all of our front line players playing in their rightful positions, I think we could have really caused them problems in that position as a split striker. So I'm disappointed about that. Look, I think it's been well documented that nobody wants Kraft anywhere near this team whatsoever. And look, he is going to be a player that, if I don't see Jamie Vardy touch tight to Kraft for 90 minutes, I'll be shocked, because Jamie Vardy must be thinking there's goals here tonight with Kraft on the pitch. And it sounds really harsh saying that, but look, as a professional player, you will be looking at him as a target. There is no doubt about it. But look, we're in a position where, again, it's kind of like a free hit, because we're not expecting to win the game. Leicester are going for Champions League football. It's an opportunity for us to go and express ourselves. And if we express ourselves early on and we nick a goal, then we've got something to hold on to, and it's a completely different game at that point. But if we go into the game like we did against Arsenal, where we give them possession and we sit on our 18-yard box and we defend, then, like Steve and others have said, it's going to be an absolute shit show, and they're going to score goals for fun. So we need to go out there and really put the emphasis on them, because I tell you what, for all the good that Leicester have done this season, they have a knack of having a really bad game. When you look at the Southampton game, for 10 men for the last 70-odd minutes of that game, maybe even longer than that, and they struggled to break them down. So, there are little negatives in that team of very young quality players. So we need to take hold of that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear some positivity from someone as well. Can always rely on Pete for a bit of positivity. That's something that we're lacking tonight, it seems. And I think you're spot on with the Emil Kraft point. I do think that that'll be something that Leicester's looking at, thinking that's a weakness they can target. But this is a free hit. We don't need the points from these games. We've got 2 easier games coming up, so we may as well go for it. Whether we do or not, we'll have to wait and see. Babbo, what do you think of that lineup? Is anyone you would have liked to have seen? And are you happy to see Joe Willock? Would you have liked to see the Longstaffs come into the side?
I never imagined there'll be a day we'd want Joe Linton to start. That's the first thing that stuck out for me. I was like, okay, Joe Linton now is starting. Looking at the lineup, I feel confused, because I'm not sure if Bruce's plan is to attack or defend. And if he wants to counter-attack, he doesn't have enough players that can hold the center and run, because we all know Shelby is not going to run for nobody. He doesn't have the pace to keep up, and that is one problem. Everyone is looking at Emil Kraft, but personally, who I think is gonna suffer in this game is Jacob Murphy, one, and Paul Dummett. Paul Dummett can read a game, but he's not fast enough to keep up. And it might sound crazy, but if you watch the game throughout, Iheanacho and Vardy switch a lot, right? So everyone is focusing on Emil Kraft. It will shock you that you have a better game today. Please, Emil Kraft, don't mess me up. I'm giving you some props, but I think we can do enough to get a draw. I believe we can do enough to get a draw.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That would be a great result for us.
Yeah.
Daz, a lot of people seem to be concerned about the defence. Is there anything you would have changed in that defence, and what do you make of the team overall?
First of all, best luck tonight, Holly. You're doing a great job so far, and Donald, who's gone. But congratulations on your first show with us. The defense, I knew he was going to go 5 at the back. I know what Pete's saying about going 4 at the back. It give us more of an attacking threat, but no, he's going to sit back for this game and the game against City. Kraft, he's our danger there. But Clark hasn't been playing great the last few games, but still I would have had him in there instead of Kraft for sure. Shelby, of course, he's never going to drop Shelby, so no, not too surprised. Let's see what Willock can do now. He's been knocking on the door, so and he's been doing great coming off the bench, so he's got a chance now to for a run from the start. Then on Leicester, a team that I'd love for us to emulate everything that they've done from the building the team up, building the stadium, the training ground, everything. They're where I'd like to see Newcastle over the next couple of years. There's danger everywhere from Leicester. They're a great side. We're built for the counter attack today, but will we get much of a chance of that? And I'm hoping that Vardy doesn't get the space in behind that he likes. We probably won't play a high line, so it will probably stay back a bit. So maybe he mightn't get that space, but I'm not expecting much. I'm here for the miracle, though.
Yeah, you never know what can happen with Newcastle. They always never fail to surprise us. Chris, finally coming to you. Are you happy to see Callum Wilson starting again, or would you like to have seen Joe Linton back in the side? Is there anyone else you would have played? You're on mute, Chris.
I'm happy with Callum Wilson. Joe Linton can be an impact player. I can't believe I'm saying that later in the game. I, of course, like the other lads, not happy to see Kraft in there. I would always like to see Murphy playing in a more of an attacking role rather than playing back a defense. I'm happy to see Willock in there, but I of course would have had Willock replace Shelby, but that'll never happen. So I guess Sean Longstaff is kind of the odd man out in this lineup. I'm pretty okay with this lineup. We don't have a whole lot of options, and we definitely want to get Willock in there. So I'm happy that Willock is playing, and hopefully he can show his stuff and show why. If Steve Bruce says that he's a player to build a team around, and he's never started him, that he needs to be starting him to really show what he can do, and whether he's worth picking up in the off season or bringing back on loan for a second season. As far as Leicester, of course, Jamie Vardy is the danger man, and I am concerned that he will be able to stretch our defense and get behind the defenders and be the impact player for Leicester. But this is not a game that I'm expecting points from, but stranger things have happened, and I've always said that Newcastle tends to play better against the top 4 or 6 clubs than we do against the bottom 4 or 6 clubs that are fighting relegation. So stranger things have happened. Steve Bruce has been a lucky SOB, and we just might steal a point or 3 against this side.
It's good news about Evans, though, isn't it? Pete, well, you just put in the chat there. That's good news, that.
Yeah, they're just showing it now.
He's not playing.
He's hobbling off big time.
Yeah.
Showing it on Sky. So I'd be shocked if he plays. And the thing is he's their best centre back.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
With experience, he's very good, and he makes the other centre backs better. And they play as a back three. So whether that changes their system, or whether they still play three at the back and they bring Amati or someone in there as a back three, the others are not as experienced, and you can get at them, and it can only be a good thing for us.
Yeah. So there seems to be an injury to Evans. Am I right? Is that happened in the warm up?
Yeah.
Looks like his calf, apparently. I just read on that. Yeah.
That might be a positive for us going forward. Then hopefully something happens there. Maybe Leicester will change their system. We'll have to wait and keep an eye on that and see what happens. So I was right. The bottom half of the panel was more positive than the top. If I wasn't hosting tonight, I think I should have been on the bottom, because I do think we'll get a result from this game. I'd predict a 1-1, but we'll move on to score predictions now. Starting with you, Steve. What do you think the result will be tonight?
Despite that injury to Evans, I can't see Newcastle coming away with anything tonight. I still think it's going to be 3-0 to Leicester. And a special shout out to Princess Leia in the bottom corner there tonight. Chris, that's uncanny.
Wow.
No, Dr. Hoover.
Bless him.
Right now, Rich, do you think we'll get anything from this game tonight, or are you not feeling very confident?
I did say on Wednesday I thought we'd go for a draw. I'll have to stick with Pete Guns. I think it'll be a score draw.
Well, I'll certainly take that, to be honest. I think that wouldn't be a bad result at all. Kieran, I'm assuming you're going to go for a defeat, but what's your predictions for tonight?
I'm going 4-0 Leicester. I don't see us taking advantage of that Evans thing as much as I hope we can. I don't see it, to be honest.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I mean, that Leicester side, regardless of who gets injured,
they're a top side. And I just listened to the geezer in the studio. They're saying that Tielemans, he's been linked with big clubs, but he's already at a big club. They're in the top 6. Don't need to leave, does he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Al Walid, what's your prediction for tonight's game?
The thing makes me sad. It's Leicester City ahead. We have FA Cup final next week. Manchester City have final as well for Champions League. They should be worried. So we should take advantage of they are thinking of other final games. Everybody thinking of the final. So if we can't beat Leicester today, if the Newcastle players dragging their foot slowly like Arsenal, we're gonna beat 3-4-0. So with this formation, I can't see a win. Even there is Willock and Almiron, if they are playing in the defense role most of the time, we are not going to win in this, because Leicester City very organized team with Rodgers, very strong team, and I see Vardy and Inichao. I think they will have fun tonight.
Hopefully not. Pete, I'm relying on you to give us a little bit more positivity now. I'm hoping you're going to back us for a result tonight. What are you going for?
I'm a little bit under pressure now, I've got to be honest. But just to back you, Holly, I'm going to go with a 2-2, a Desmond. Why not, eh? Why not?
Yeah, that would be very, very entertaining to see. I can't see 4 goals in this game, but hope so. Loving the positivity as always. Babo, what do you think? I know you said a draw earlier. You still going to stick by that?
I'm going for a 0-0 draw. If you can see 4 goals in this game, it's definitely not from Newcastle. So let's just go 0-0 and defend for our lives and enjoy it. Because I do not see this formation working out in the counter attack, but I could be wrong. Let's see.
Yeah, hopefully it's a Brucey masterclass again. Daz, what are you going for?
Yeah, in the PT derby, I'm gonna go. I was thinking 2-0 defeat, but with that change, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 defeat. So a bit more positive, Holly, if that qualifies. And before you go to Princess Leia, I think Pete should have really I think Steve should really have put up the Princess Leia in the bikini picture for Chris. But
Okay, last but not least, Princess Leia, what's your predictions for tonight?
He's on mute again.
I said I prefer Han Solo, but I can't pick my own characters here. God, I had a prediction and then I've changed it twice during this panel, but I'm going to go back to where I started, especially because I'm backed by my brother Pete. I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw.
Yeah, well, that would be very, very good result. I'm hoping you and Pete are both right. So there's 1 minute till the game kicks off. Should be starting very soon. They're just going through the lineups on the TV now. I think that Leicester side is a very, very strong side. Realistically, in midfield as well, they're excellent. It's completely, you see Maddison and then you see Shelby and ours and you just think there's no comparison really. It's an absolutely outstanding side. So Rich, I'll ask you, what do you make of that Leicester side?
It's quite scary, isn't it, really, when you look at it? As I said it in the first bit, I think that midfield is going to dominate our midfield tonight, unfortunately. I think indeed he's one of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League. I think Tielemans and Maddison work really, really well together. And Maddison is just so creative. He's this type of player that we really lack. Obviously, it looks like they're going to go with Albrighton in the team now as well. So it's like probably a 4 diamond in the middle according to what Sky are saying. But with that midfield alone, there's just no physicality really in that middle because obviously Shelby's going to be pretty much a passenger for the whole of the game. Willicks and Almon are going to be your legs and stuff, but I can't remember who said it early on. There's just no bite there whatsoever in that middle. It's probably the sort of game you need an Isaac Hayden or one of the Longstaff a bit in there as well, just to get in and around the creative player, let them know that you're there. So look, fingers crossed. Obviously, hope that change with Evans dropping out. It could be a bit of a positive for forward players with him dropping out, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, so Evans hasn't ended up playing the game. Albrighton has replaced him. Just kicked off. We have the ball at the moment. That's nice to see that we've got some possession early on. Brilliant ball from John Shelby, but unfortunately straight to the keeper. Kieran, are you worried by that Leicester side? I'm assuming you are. There's some great talents in there.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. They've got some wonderful footballers. That midfield is just going to just poo all over us, isn't it? That midfield is everything our midfield should be, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That James Maddison. I mean, I was at the game where they beat us 5-0, and he didn't play that game, and they still managed to score 5 without him. So you just got to keep him quiet, really, and I just hope that we can hopefully take advantage. If he's having an off game, then we've got every chance because everything, in my opinion, comes through him. He's a standout player, but along with a few others as well. And they've got a world class centre forward, haven't they? It's just deadly, isn't he, in front of the goal? Although I do think he has lost a bit of pace. I don't know if anyone else agrees. I do think he's not the player that he was a few years ago. But he's still good though, isn't he? I mean,
yeah, I agree. Jamie Vardy, he's a good striker. You can't argue with that. He hasn't been as good lately, you could argue, but he's still a really, really good striker. I think our defence is going to have to be on top form already. Leicester is attacking us. They've got the ball out of box straight at Martin Dubravka. Lucky. This is what we have to try and not do, though, not let them have lots of chances because eventually they will put one away. Do you agree with that, Al-Wali? Do you think we need to try and not let them in our box?
I said earlier, Leicester, they are very organized. Everyone know what he's doing. But for us, we just have Almiron and Wilson and Saint Maximin. They are much into individual play. Everyone runs different direction. It's very rare for them during the 90 minutes to create something dangerous together. So this is the difficulty. And if you can see, it's typical. It's typical Steve Bruce playing. The player themselves, they are not feeling that they are gonna win. I can see, because it's very hard for Wilson and Saint Maximin to beat organized team, and they are very good and talented player in Leicester City. If they are in usual state, it's gonna be difficult to beat. But let's hope they are thinking of a final. Everyone want to play, but I can see they are Leicester City. They are not worried about Newcastle, which they give them comfortable to play, because they expecting what they are facing now. So no surprises.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear we're not going to get a lot of goals in this game. If we are to get anything, it's going to be by a narrow amount of goals. Dunnell, if we are to get something from this game, what do you think is the best way to go about that?
Best way to go about it, basically go down the wings, get the ball to Saint Maximin, get him running at them, the wings, stretch their defence, because they haven't got a strong centre. Evans has gone off, so they've got a soft centre at the back. So get it to Saint Maximin wide, and make sure, Almiron or Wilson are busting the gut, Willock busting the gut to get into the box. So that's one way. And the only other way is a decent set piece. But as I say, you know how our corners have been last few games. So that's the only way.
Yeah, got to take any chances that we get. I think so far Leicester's had a lot more of the ball, but that's what we can expect. We never have a great deal of possession. They seem to be very pacey, which we aren't. We know that. Constantly getting forward. We need to watch, always getting in these dangerous areas. I just hope that the defence can hold together a day. Pete, on the attack now, ball into the box, over the bar. Right. Pete, are you worried about the threat that Leicester's posing so far?
You can't help but not be, if I'm honest, because they've just got an array of talent, young quality talent, along with the experience of Vardy up top. They've got goals from everywhere. That was my first thought when I looked at their team when we started the game. You got Tillemans, you got Ndidi, you got Maddison, you got Vardy and Yacho, you got Albrighton, all capable of getting a goal at any point in time in the game, and that's the biggest worry. From our point of view, the earliest worry is the lack of pressing high up the pitch. Again, I talked about it on the show over the weekend, and it's the lack of pressing from our front guys, St Maximin and Wilson. The only one that's pressing high up the pitch to begin with is Willock. Willock's tried to press the ball high up and make them make mistakes and try and win the ball high up the pitch. We need all three of them, along with Almiron, to be doing the same. Otherwise, we're just going to invite pressure after pressure after pressure. And like one or two have already said, they're going to eventually break us down if they have that sort of possession and that amount of time on the ball. So we need to be a little bit more adventurous and a little bit more aggressive in our play, particularly early on. Like I said to you before, I talked about it being a free hit. I mean, it's not a free hit. It's probably the wrong words to say. It's an opportunity to express ourselves and to really go out there and play different. Okay, because we are not expected to win. You look at the chat, you look at in general, we're not expected to win the game, but it's an opportunity to really go out there and make it difficult for Leicester. Because let's face it, Leicester need this for the Champions League. They've got people on their tails, and they need to win. And they've got Man United on Tuesday, and then they've got an FA Cup final coming up. So they've got big games coming up soon. So, with our attacking plays, we should be causing them more problems. And I'm a little bit worried that we've not seen that in the first 7 minutes. God.
Martin Dubravka's already been tested early on. Maddison seems to be posing a huge goal threat for Leicester, which is worrying. I do think St Maximin's been causing a few problems. Hopefully he can get into the game a little bit more. And Babbo, coming to you now, what do you think is the best way for us to get something out of this game?
I mean, from what I've seen in the last 10 minutes or so, Leicester are playing a 3-1-6. Literally, their entire front line is cut. Ndidi has been on the center line for the whole game. The problem with trying to play like Inter Milan in a Champions League final is that we don't have the drilling.
What the hell?
And this, I agree. You wanna press them high up the pitch, but we can't recover. That's the main problem with trying to play like this. I would be very worried about relying on or an over reliance on Saint Maximin, because when he even gets to the end of the box, who's gonna be there?
Yeah.
So the game plan, for lack of a better word, is I don't know. It's okay. Hopefully, because everyone is always targeting Madsen. We always forget that Tielemans is also one of the best passers of a ball in that team.
Yeah.
So I hope that the lads can actually just man mark and stick to their guns. The only time I'm worried about us conceding is when it gets closer to like halftime. Because for now, concentration levels are still high. Is that drop in concentration? With Leicester, you only need to do it for like 3 seconds. Vardy is in.
Yeah, a little bit of positivity from Newcastle there. They were
Get in the box.
back on the attack now.
Oh, it's a foul.
Being taken down in the box.
He's give a free kick. Yeah.
Free on the edge.
Free kick to Callum Wilson there.
Well,
being
the
taken
box
down in the
then.
box.
It's not quite a penalty. Do you reckon they'll check it? I don't think it was in the box, was it? No, it's miles out the box.
No, it's outside. Yeah, outside.
Yeah,
Come on.
hopefully we can make something of this free kick. It is in quite a good area. You'd like to think that we could get something from this. We need to take all the chances we have.
Yeah.
Free kicks, anything like that, we need to take advantage of them, because otherwise we won't get anything. Matt Ritchie is taking the free kick now from the outside of the box. The players are getting organised. I think Matt Ritchie is the right person to take this free kick. I think he's got the best free kicks going. Otherwise, it would have been John Joe Shelby, who I don't really rate for his free kicks, to be honest. I'll take this now.
Doesn't look promising, right, does it? They've got quite a few players back there.
I know.
Just
Like deflect in or something. Anthem.
Yeah.
if
If I was him, I'd probably go with Shelby, to be
Anything,
honest.
guys.
he went across the floor. And again. Oh,
Again.
it's a good ball.
Crossing.
Go on.
Maxim's got the ball.
Hit it. Oh, you should have hit it. No, hit it. Oh, you're in trouble now.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
Well-
shit. Oh, God.
There's a bit of positivity there going forward now. Newcastle on the attack. They're posing much more of a threat than they have in the first 10 minutes so far. That's great to see. Ball now in Leicester's possession. Daz, do you think that this is looking positive now? Newcastle are getting more into the game. Do you think we can score?
Yeah, just before the free kick, we held on to the ball for a few seconds, so that was positive. We hadn't seen much of it before then. Then we got the free kick, and yeah, it didn't work out. Kind of three crosses, attempted crosses into the box, didn't get a shot on. But now that the ball's back with Leicester again, and yeah, they'll surely bring it up. But yeah, there's a bit more positivity there in the last 5 minutes, so something to work on.
I think Newcastle will have like one go at going forward, and everyone gets too excited thinking we're going to win in the game. That seems to be how it goes. We're on possession of the ball again now.
Oh, that's poor pass.
Chris, what do you think? Do you think we can get a goal in this first half?
We have to. I don't see us
My
playing
God.
from behind against Leicester. Like again, the lads have all said, and you said, Holly. They've got scoring threats all over the pitch. So if they go 1 or 2 goals up, that's game over. Let's say 2 goals up. I still think we can come back from 1 goal down. But yeah, it's critical that we get the first goal. I haven't seen it as much of a disadvantage in the possession as some of the other games where we've routinely gone 75% possession against us. But yeah, the last 5 minutes were pretty promising. Maybe not the best start, but if there's one thing that Newcastle is sort of famous for this season is conceding early. So we've, still could happen, but we're sort of past the initial kind of danger zone and kind of seeing what Leicester's had to offer, and we've been able to counter it. Dubravka has been very busy. That's always a worry if he's having to save like 20 shots or something like that. A couple of those are going to go in. But so I'm concerned about the defensive breakdowns, and I'm always concerned about the midfield play when Shelby's in there. Haven't seen Shelby really do much. Here's doing the free kick.
Come on, make this count.
Free kick out Newcastle. Shelby's taking it, whipped it into the box.
Oh, Jesus.
Just wide of the
goal.
Very unfortunate. That's 2 free kicks now that we had a chance to take and we just didn't take them. But it's unfortunate. Hopefully we can make better use of our chances in the future, because that was really, really unlucky there, unfortunately. Also, touching on Steve Bruce, he's been nominated for Manager of the Month. He got 2 draws and 2 wins in the 4 games that we played last month. Steve, what do you make of that? Will you be voting for Steve Bruce as Manager of the Month?
Nope.
You're mute, Steve.
Me, I've done it, Chris, as well. Yes, because I was away making a cuppa. I put it on mute. Yeah. Look, he deserves it for last month's efforts. Like I said on the show, many a time he's pulled the dressing room round, and it has changed things. However, he doesn't want to let all that work get undone over the next few games. I mean, last week we didn't turn up. We got off to a better start tonight by all accounts, but it's early days, and then we've got Man City coming up. So you look at the whole thing though, and he deserves at least that plaudit. I can't really say too much more. I've been a critic all season, but I'm a fair person. If somebody puts the effort in and turns things around, no matter why it turned around, he is the manager and he's the man responsible. He's the man who picks the team. So yeah, look, I would say that Steve Bruce deserves it. Will he get it? I'm not so sure. But I do think he deserves at least, that particular plaudit. And be a nice way to go out for Steve Bruce if this takeover goes through and the new man comes in, and Steve Bruce departs on a positive, having kept Newcastle up and winning a Manager of the Month award to boot. I suppose it means he's going to be able to get another job elsewhere, at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think Steve Bruce does deserve a little bit of praise for what he's done last month. You can't really see anything else, to be honest. I don't think he will get Manager of the Month, because I don't think many Newcastle fans or other fans will vote for him, because he's not a very popular character. But yeah, he does deserve some praise. Rich, do you think that the recent turnaround in form is due to Steve Bruce, or would you credit them all as the team as a whole, or who would you give credit to?
I think you've got to give credit to everybody at the club. Everyone seems to be pulling in the right direction for change. I think when we did it, a lot of us did our predictions, how many points we were going to get towards the end of the season.
Go on. Get in the box.
Hit it, ASM.
Jesus! Wide of the post.
Great save by
Schmeichel.
Yeah. Excellent save by Schmeichel. That was a great chance. I don't know how he didn't score that, to be honest. That was excellent from Schmeichel. Callum Wilson went on a brilliant run there, almost from the halfway line, then St. Maximum had that chance. Very unfortunate. If he put it just a bit higher up, then I think he would have got it. He just shot a little bit too low, unfortunately. But it seems to be very positive. Yeah. It seems to be very, very positive so far. 15 minutes in, 16 minutes in, and we seem to be just as good as Leicester, I think it's fair to say. At the moment, it started off a bit shaky, but now we seem to be getting more back into the game. And I'm
thinking that we're going to have the best chances.
Right. Yeah. Now Richie's taking a corner into the box. Oh, Schmeichel batted it away, and
free kick.
Free kick.
Wow, what a chance.
Yeah.
That was a big chance.
Wow.
goal kick to Schmeichel. It's so unfortunate, that is.
You do feel like we need to get the first goal, like, don't we?
Yeah. That was it. That was
the
chance.
Well, this is the thing that worries me in this game, is not taking the chances, because if we don't take the chances, we aren't going to be able to get anything from this game. Do you think that's the biggest problem, Kieran, that we just don't take our chances?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you get a chance like that, you need to bury them, don't you? I mean, we're not gonna get many chances in this game. It's going to be like a set piece or counter attack like that. And when you do get them, you gotta come on. Is that Willock again? God damn me.
It should have been a free kick, to be honest.
No, it could have been. He's laughing at them.
Yeah, Steve Bruce having a laugh and a joke on the touchline there. What I will say is I think Callum Wilson seems to be getting into this game a lot more than we saw against Arsenal. I think against Arsenal, it was fair to say he was pretty unnoticed, but he does seem to be really going for it this game. Al-Wali, do you think Callum Wilson will have anything to do this game? Do you think he'll get a goal?
He's slightly improving in a game by game. I can say, as Baba said, the 3-1-6. It's obvious the Leicester, they try to get the game early, so we get a chance to play counter-attack. I think this is the only chance for both teams, the one we just missed. For now, we much better than Arsenal game. And hopefully the first half, it will end. I will be happy if it ends 0-0 at least.
Yeah, on the attack again now, Callum Wilson has the ball, lost possession, and it's offside. Pete, do you think that was the only major chance we're going to get in this first half, or do you think that we'll get some more chances and put one away? I think we will, personally.
Look, you're not going to get better chances than that in the game. I'd be very surprised if we get another chance as clear-cut as that in this 90 minutes tonight. It's a great chance. You know, if you can argue that St. Maximin's been a little bit casual with the ball, he kind of... You know, the way he's opened his body up, he's made it very obvious that he's going in that corner. And Schmeichel, you know, for all his mistakes, and he does make a lot, he is a very experienced goalkeeper. And it was a fantastic save. But I'm sorry, when you're in that position, the goalkeeper shouldn't be saving that.
He was telegraphing.
He should not be saving that. That should be 1-0 right there. That's a poor miss.
100% agree. I think if Martin Dubravka had made that same save, we would have absolutely been praising him in the high heavens. So I'm sure Leicester are very, very pleased with Schmeichel at the moment. Babo, do you see any goals in this first half, or do you think we'll have to wait till the second half?
Probably second half. Probably second half we'll see a goal. But I mean, St. Maximin, that was a sitter. Let's be honest. That was a sitter. He should not have telegraphed that much. Everyone and their grandma could see where he was going to put that. But hopefully we can get some more chances. And it's good seeing the team kind of taking it to a Champions League contender, if you will. So it's a good thing. It's a show of confidence, and it's a show that even if we do perform badly the week before, we don't have to do the same thing, which is a very different from what our season started like. We were just trying to keep our hands up and not get beat, but it's quite good. Hopefully, let's say 68th minute, we can still be 0-0, because Newcastle, we just have this tendency, once it hits that 65th minute, like concentration drops, fitness drops. That's my worry. I'm not worried about the first half. Second half, everything tends to crumble, but hopefully we don't.
Hopefully not. We do seem to be giving a bit of a response to that Arsenal game after we played so poorly, and we certainly don't seem to be intimidated by Leicester. Daz, do you think the reason that we're playing so well is because the team are responding to that poor performance against Arsenal?
Yeah, okay, the Arsenal game was a bad day at the office, but they were playing well before in the games before that, so maybe a reaction to it. But in the last, okay,
you're in.
Well,
St. Maximin, excellent
job.
Yes!
Oh wow! Oh, I think
Get in
there.
Wow, brilliant! Newcastle 1-0 off.
It's only with Newcastle I'm happy to be wrong.
Absolutely stuff from Joe Willis.
Get in.
That just proved to me why he should have been playing that whole time. I don't think
He's
anyone can disagree now. What
He did it all
that
himself as
run
well.
even?
This is what they've done against Crystal Palace, though, isn't it?
Great finish.
Yeah. Brilliant. Chris, what do you think of that goal? I'm assuming you're very happy Willock's playing now.
Yeah, you know.
Sorry, Princess Leah, not Chris.
I think he should have been starting the last 3 matches. Steve Bruce does the right thing after trying everything, all the other alternatives. I think, as Winston Churchill said of United States. So yeah, I'm happy for him. I would like to see him back, even on loan next season, even if there's a chance of doing the Kennedy second year slump. I don't necessarily think we'll have the funds to buy him this summer, but I would like to have him back on a second year loan. Happy for the lad. You got to be pleased with that. And us scoring the first goal is always key, as I keep saying, because we don't play well from behind, but we got to play well, protect that lead, well deserved, I'm happy all around. We were playing like we deserved the goal. We didn't get it from St. Maximin earlier, so glad we took the chance there.
I have to agree. Joe Willock certainly made up for that absolute sitter that St. Maximin missed earlier on. Steve, now that we've taken a 1-0 lead, do you think we can hold on to that going into the second half?
I am surprised. I am. It's a different Newcastle that's turned up today as opposed to the team that turned up against Arsenal last week. And great stuff. But games aren't won. Games aren't won in the first half. There's a long way to go. And let's just hope they can keep the momentum on. The stats are backing up. It's a great performance so far. But Leicester are a threat, and they are dangerous. It's going to need 99. 90 plus minutes of
what a save.
It's going to need 90 plus minutes of effort to do that. A great save by Dubravka, and again a free kick whipped in by Leicester, and nobody getting to the ball first by Newcastle, and Dubravka again coming to the rescue. But look, for me, it's just good to see Newcastle putting the effort in. Great goal by Willock. Like people have said on the chat already, it's he did all that work himself. A great finish. He's obviously oozing confidence, and let's just hope Newcastle can continue this. But it's going to be a tough game, and at least we've managed to get a goal, which I didn't think we were going to get at the start of this game. It's a greatly improved performance, Holly.
It certainly is. And Joe Willock, I think that you can tell starting this game means so much to him. Rich, now you've got to be thinking we need to sign Joe Willock in the summer. Don't you agree?
Completely. I think he's the first thing we need to sign at the end of the season. Whether we can afford to get him here on a permanent basis, or we can approach Arsenal about getting him on a season-long loan with option to buy at the end of next season. But I think he's imperative for the way that the team ticks at the minute. He's got plenty of legs. You saw what happened there with the goal with the press, which I think has annoyed quite a few when we've been watching matches recently, where when Newcastle press, it causes teams a lot of problems. They didn't do it very well against Arsenal, but when they do the press, it causes big issues. And to be fair to Newcastle, apart from the first 5 minutes, I think we've probably been the better side so far. And
to Wilson.
I think it was just saying about earlier on that Willock's in the top 5 for goals per minute since he's joined Newcastle, again with all of the previous players. So obviously that's going to be higher up the chart now with another goal today. So I don't think the only bad thing about his performance is, unfortunately, is Arsenal going to raise the price tag.
Yeah, that is the case. I think it's better to get him signed up sooner rather than later if that's something that we want to do. Only 19 years old, you can clearly see that he's got so much potential and so much further to go. Kieran, is he someone you prioritise signing in the summer?
It all depends, doesn't it, on who the owner's going to be and all that. I still wouldn't pay 20 million for him. I don't think he's worth 20 million quid. I mean, what they'll probably end up happening is if the longer this it's increasingly like this is going to drag. This arbitration is going to drag on, which we're not going to have a transfer window, are we? So if worst case scenario it doesn't happen by then, we probably get them on loan, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
well, a lot has happened. A lot has happened this week in regards to the takeover, which I'm sure we'll all know. We've had a crazy few days, and you'd like to think that can all be resolved before the start of the new season, because we do want to have a transfer window with the new owners where we'll actually be able to spend money and sort the manager situation out. I'll touch on that a little bit. So obviously the HMRC case got dropped against Newcastle. Do you think that'll have a positive impact on the takeover?
Sorry, can you repeat because of the sound?
Sorry. So the HMRC case, they dropped their legal case against Newcastle United. Do you think that'll have a positive impact for our takeover?
Of course, I believe this will happen. Now everything, I think, going into our direction. Today I expect something, some comeback from the, they call it newspaper, sandwich newspaper. They are lost. They have nothing to say because we are filled with evidence, and I believe everything now is going into the right direction.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be looking positive. Leicester is on the attack now. They've got a throw in. Hopefully they don't make anything of this. I don't think that they will. Matt Rich, it's back out for another throw in. Dunil, same question to you. Do you think that this case now being dropped will have a positive impact for our takeover?
Yeah, I think it can move things forward as regards the takeover, in the sense that that's one thing off the list that we don't have to worry about any extra tax bills or anything. So now it can be full steam ahead with, getting this takeover done and, turning us into the powerhouse that we should be, And that's what I feel anyway.
Yeah, speaking of powerhouses that we should be, I think it's very interesting Mike Ashley's statement that he released this week, referring to the Premier League as the dark forces that are preventing the football from going forward. And saying that it's time for them to step aside. That seems to be something that is a very confident statement from Mike Ashley. Do you think he's feeling more confident now, Pete?
Sorry, say that again. I couldn't hear you very well. Apologies.
It's all right. Was just saying on Mike Ashley's statement, saying that the Premier League should step aside and that they're the dark forces preventing the club from going forward. Do you think that means Mike Ashley's more confident of a deal happening?
Definitely. I think he's always been confident. First and foremost, I have to say, Keith Patterson was outstanding tonight on the Amigos. He was so good. Some of the things that he was saying on there when he was referring to Yusuf and Ben Jacobs, I was howling. I was absolutely howling. He was on absolute top form, so fair play to him. But again, he's proven everything that he said and he's talked about for months is come to fruition, and you could tell there was a level of relief there in the way he was talking tonight. It's all come out, and he's been able to prove what he said many months ago. But in terms of it, the dark forces and Ashley being confident, I've got to be honest, it's up my levels of confidence by 10-20% in the last couple of days hearing that. It's great to hear. And if it means that we're going to get new owners that are going to be ambitious and put money into the club, that make the likes of 20 million that I saw on the chat be the norm. That's what we want to see. We don't want to be seeing this scrimping and saving of 5 million here, 4 million there. What we want to do is see big money being spent on this club, because we deserve it, because we've had nothing been spent on this club for so many years on players and the facilities. So we've just got to be patient a little bit more. There's no deadline. We don't know when it's going to be done by, but we just need to be patient and hopefully see this season out by staying in the league, and winning tonight hopefully would be a big step forward, and then we pray that it can get done in the summer.
Thought he was going to give a penalty there for a second.
Got the ball though.
Yeah, there's a good tackle there.
It's just a waiting game now. John Joe Shelby's taking a free kick, whipped it into the box.
It's not attacking it, man.
Cleared it. Matt Ritchie's now got the ball, put it back into Almiron.
Oh my
St Maximin, and we've lost the ball to Leicester again. It still seems to be going very well. Newcastle still seem to be attacking a lot. Very surprising, I think, especially with that lineup. And the defence doesn't seem to have been too poor. Because I know we were all concerned, especially with seeing Kraft in that lineup. Martin Dubravka has been tested, but I don't think it's been too bad. And certainly going forward, we have been good. I know that a few people said that they'd like to bring Joe Linton in. Now I think Callum Wilson's trying to prove that he is the best striker at this club, which most of the fans think anyway. But he's just trying to prove that, obviously, after having that absence. Babo, do you think that Callum Wilson does want to prove a point tonight about why he should be number one striker at Newcastle?
I think he's been trying to prove a point all season. He's 3 goals off Jamie Vardy. So he for all intents and purposes, he's still number one, because if you put Callum Wilson and Joe Linton and you look at them, you're just like, yeah, no, Callum is going. To Pete's point about the takeover going to, I would settle for just someone that runs the club properly. We have the, I mean, can you imagine how many players we've let go on free, and then we sign some players we don't use, but we pay them wages for just years, and we'd buy players and then wreck them and sell them on for like pittance, and then they end up, we let Yedlin go for free. It's almost like we're like, oh yeah.
He's corner by Matt Ritchie, whipped it into the box, put it in with a header, I think. Wow, 2-0 lead. Would you ever believe that? Brilliant. It's a local lad. You can see how much that means to Paul Dummett. Wow, what a performance.
Wow, he was really high up there.
Lovely ball whipped in by Ritchie, and perfect header by Dummett, put himself about.
He was so high.
Wow. Yeah, Michael, no chance. He was so close to the goal, he buried it.
Fantastic.
2-0. 2-0. Long way to go, but we're 2-0 up.
Yeah, so, you've got to be thinking we can go on to win this game now, Daz.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that yet, actually, Holly. It's still too early. But no, we are playing really, really well. And the great thing about it is we didn't just sit back after that first goal went in and invite them on. We kept pushing forward. We've had a few corners and stuff since the goal, so that's great. To answer a few of your questions as well, Holly. Yes, I would sign Willock. I think his prices are going up the whole time, but yeah, I definitely would sign him now. The tax case, yeah, brilliant to see that being dropped, and great work by Keith and Liam Kennedy as well. And it's great now that there's two forms of attack on the Premier League. And and I think Aloid was touching on it as well. It was nice to see that there was no answer today from the Premier League. So yeah, you'd kind of nearly expect a snappy reply back today, but hopefully they're getting scared.
Hopefully, yeah. We'll come back to the goal in a minute because that was an outstanding goal. But Chris, in terms of the takeover, what do you think about it? Do you think that what's happened over the past few days will have a positive impact?
Yeah, so first, I never thought that the HMRC case would have any effect on the takeover. That was clearly a bottom line issue for how much fun Mike Ashley would have.
Bloody Shelby again. Bloody Shelby.
No, that Murphy. It was Murphy. Murphy. Awful defender.
Yeah, so I pretty much overlooked the HMRC case. I knew that there wasn't much in it if they'd been going on this long with no findings. So that was never a worry for me. Of course, Mike Ashley only comes out with these sort of tanks on the lawn statements when he sort of feels like he's got the Premier League in his sights. So, hopefully it's not just sort of bluster from Mike Ashley, but the club taking on Keith's case with the any competition combined with the Nick DeMarco arbitration I do feel like
Go on. Where's the players, man?
Wilson.
There's no support. There's no support.
He's got to take it on his left there.
Great chance for Callum Wilson there. Fortunately, there was no one to support him. He was surrounded by 3 defenders, so he didn't really have much of a chance.
Yeah, so I just wanted to address this idea of like what like the two cases mean together. I don't buy into those people who think that Mike Ashley bringing forth the anti-competition case is in any way sort of a throwing in the towel on the arbitration. It's really there to put pressure on the Premier League to say we've got you from both sides, and we can put pressure on you in multiple ways, and the discovery will unlock documents that will be sort of show the top 6 collusion and sort of cartel issues there, and that will only help the arbitration. So I think both are positive, and it's not a sort of a zero-sum sort of Ben Jacobs type thing. I think it's a positive all around, and that between those two cases and the sort of collapse of the Super League and showing the sort of that Amanda Staveley was right in terms of those dark forces behind. The dark forces, I think, refer to the top 6, not just the Premier League itself. But I think the dark forces were the collusion of the top 6 with the Premier League. So just the Super League and everything that's unlocked, showing the hypocrisy of those clubs and how they've stood in the way of this takeover just as much as anything having to do with separation between the Saudis and yeah.
Dark forces, Chris. Dark forces.
Yes.
Where's your TARDIS, Chris?
Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
A lot of people have mentioned the work of Keith Patterson in the NCSL, and I think he does deserve a lot of credit because he's been brilliant over this past year. Everything that he's doing as a supporter, it's brilliant to see. I was watching the Three Amigos, and he always speaks really well. So great what he's been doing. And moving back into the game now, because we don't want to get too caught up in the takeover. That goal from Paul Dummett, an interesting stat that came up. He hasn't scored since the 1st of January 2016, which is pretty predictable because he hasn't actually played that much, and he is obviously a defender. But I think that goal would have meant so much to him, and it was very instinctive. Very surprising player to score. Steve, what do you make of Paul Dummett's goal?
I'm over the moon for him because regular viewers will know that I've been crying out for him and Matt Ritchie to be back in the team. And Matt Ritchie again has been outstanding tonight. There's no doubt about it that Ritchie's inclusion in the team has changed things. Paul Dummett's a natural defender, and again crying out for Dummett to be back in the team for a long time. But look, he's a 7 out of 10 guy. Dummett, he's not gonna be running down the wing. And crossing the ball in for you. He's the one who put a flying tackle in. He'll get stuck in. And there's a lot to be said about Geordie's playing for this team. If Andy Carroll was the Andy Carroll from 10 years ago, I'm sure Andy Carroll would be playing and he'd be putting exactly the same effort in and doing his best. But look, Dummett took his goal well, got up well for the header, fair header, planted it in the back of the net past Schmeichel, and it's given us a great cushion now. I think ideally for us, we want to get in at 2-0 and, just hope that, Newcastle can continue it in the second half. We'll get in at 2-0. We're giving ourselves a chance. I can still see Leicester getting something back, and I can still see Leicester getting something out of this game. They're too good a team. They're chasing Champions League football. And for me, the game isn't over yet. But the other thing is as well, Dubravka has been outstanding this half. Pulled off 4 point blank saves. I think the stat that goes against Newcastle and goes in favour of Leicester is that Leicester are second in the table for coming from behind and winning games. So that's a stat probably we need to look at a little bit. But hey, positive. I thought we'd get beat 3-0. Couldn't see us scoring. We're 2-0 up, 4 minutes to half time.
Certainly taking us by surprise. Offside. We were on the attack there again. Now we're constantly having a chance. Leicester are still very much in this game. You can see them getting back into it, but so are we. And we're certainly not slacking off, which is what you want to see. And if we can play like this in the second half, and I don't see any reason why we can't go on to win this game. We've got a corner now from Matt Ritchie, and yeah, I think Paul Dummett as well. Yes, he is pretty an average defender, but he's the type of player I feel like is essential to this side when we are battling this relegation. This game is important for Leicester because they're chasing Champions League, but if we win this, it'll almost guarantee safety. Rich, do you think it's important for Leicester or Newcastle?
Get up. Oh, you're there again.
You know what, though, Holly? I think we've also got to take into consideration that Leicester's had their pre-match plans completely thrown into disarray at the back, and there's nothing worse for a team than having a team all set. They've been playing all week, training all week towards it, and then they lose Johnny Evans in the warm-up. That's been a blessing in disguise for us, and Leicester are really struggling with this at the back, and that'll be the one thing that Brendan Rodgers is looking for when he gets back into the dressing room to try and address that problem. As Sky cameras now focus, almost as if they were listening to me there, on Johnny Evans wistfully looking out on the pitch, wondering what might have been.
Yeah, another ball whipped into the box for Newcastle
Oh
there.
my God. Get him off. He's been shite.
The good thing is that Kieran always finds something to moan about, Holly.
I think we all know this by now, but it's someone to bring us back down to earth when we're getting carried away, so balances it out a bit. I think that Miguel Almiron has been a bit poor again, but you can't fault him too much when we're playing 2-0. I think he looks a bit tired. Maybe he's in need of a rest. Kieran, would you rest him?
Yeah, I would have. I'll definitely. Where's the other Longstaff brother? I haven't seen it. Is he on the bench?
Sean.
Not Sean.
Matty. Oh, he's not on the bench. I would have played him for a change. I mean, he never gets a run out, really, does he?
It's totally bizarre that Steve Bruce practically begged him to stay for a season and then never played him.
Strange, isn't it? Really strange.
Yeah.
And the odd one as well was the Anderson as well.
Injured.
Yeah, but he put him on the bench last week and he still had the injury then. So I can't work it out. It looks like he might be off to Luton in the summer, though, I read.
Yeah, I can't see Matty sticking around if he doesn't get the game time, to be honest. Is Sean and Matty someone you'd see as part of the future, Kieran, if we got new owners?
No, I don't. I think there'll be backup players, to be honest, because you like to think they would be able to attract a decent quality midfielder if it goes through, of course, which we don't know yet. But you like to think so because the amount of money that they're talking about. I still don't think we're going to be able to attract like the Mbappes and Haalands. Obviously not, but it's going to be like someone. I mean, Maddison would be the dream, isn't it? But that's not going to happen. It's just going to be, I don't know, here we go.
Oh, well done.
Wow, excellent save from Dubravka again. Jamie Vardy.
Wow.
Right on half time as well. Right on half time.
Half time now, 1 minute of added time.
You're going on the back of the midfield. The Fernandez, Kraft, they've got to go. They're not good enough. If you want to progress as a club, you've got to buy players up that can play out from the back and can defend as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Under Rafa Benitez, our defence was arguably where we were strongest, and under Steve Bruce, it seemed to just fallen apart. Al-Walid, is there any changes you'd make to the defence going into the second half to protect that 2-0 lead?
The thing I like, and what I noticed a change today, first of all, Saint-Maximin didn't hold the ball much longer. He usually try to work on the counter-attack plan they have. They are organized more on the counter-attack, and which has helped them two things. Soyuncu, I think the Turkish defender, is shaky tonight. I don't know, he was on a play today, or he wasn't ready, or maybe because Evans didn't play. This is first of all. Second of all, they are all, most of the players of Leicester City, they are making spaces in behind. So all this work out for our counter-attack plan. We see it's nice. It's more organized, much more organized for counter-attack. For I don't think we should have to. Now it's wrong if we hold the defense to protect the 2 goals. We should continue the same, because what we expect now, more spaces behind the Leicester City lines. So we should take another 3rd goal and 4th goal. This is the only way to win. If we just wanna try to keep these 2 goals, you can see any minute they can score. If we just we have to make them feel danger and continue in using the spaces they left behind.
Yeah, we're at half time. Can't get my words out. Half time now. Newcastle's got a 2-0 lead with goals from Joe Willock and Paul Dummett. Chris Hall put in the comments earlier that just give Martin Dubravka man of the match now, and I have to say I must agree. Like, Martin Dubravka has been amazing. I think he looked a little bit shaky the past few games coming back into the side. Not as good as he did before his injury, but this game, he just seems to be top notch. And I think if we win this game, we've got to give a lot of that credit to Martin Dubravka. Donnell, what do you make of Martin Dubravka's performance?
What's wrong with Donnell?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, sorry, can you...
I just said, what do you make of Martin Dubravka's performance in that first half? Can you hear Donnell? Oh, right, okay. Pete, I'll ask you the same question then.
Martin Dubravka has been outstanding. So I was actually quite critical on our show after the game with yourself, Steve, and Chris H, about Dubravka and his performance. But he's certainly, in that first 45 minutes, sort of righted the wrongs of Sunday. He's been outstanding and he's kept us in the game. You know, we've done really well as a team. We've created chances. I was worried early on about putting pressure on their defence, but we certainly put that right very quickly. And we've caused a lot of pressure at the top end of the pitch. But when we've needed Dubravka, this is why you have a quality goalkeeper in goal, because he's the guy that's kept us in the game and kept us at 2-0 effectively. And I hope that he's not affected in the way that he has been in the last 15 minutes. But he certainly gives us a massive plus. But again, you know, I kind of wish with Dubravka that he was 10 years younger, just because he's such a good goalkeeper, and he came from nowhere, and he came to us in his late 20s, and you just wish that he was in his early 20s as good as he is, because, you know, he's just a pleasure to have in goal for us. He really is.
I think he's one of the best bargain signings we've ever had, and it is a shame. I'm hoping we can get a few more years out of him still yet. But Babbo, what do you think of the first half? And obviously Martin Dubravka's been amazing.
Well, we should definitely give him man of the match already, because he's basically saved us 3-0. It's good to see the positive attitude from the players as well as the team. I was quite surprised at the way they were giving Leicester like them blows, because I was like, oh wow. I mean, some of us were still like, this does not look like the Newcastle that played last weekend. But we're happy that they did, because I think that loss to Arsenal kind of showed them, like, look, it's not over until the whistle is blown. I was about to say until the fat lady sings, but I guess that's not the way it goes anymore. So we just need to make sure we do not capitulate. That's our problem. That's where I have a problem with this team. They set up, they do everything right, and then just like 10 minutes to the end, everything falls apart. We don't want a Man United kind of situation again. Just make sure that we shore up the midfield. I won't touch the defense. No one is on a yellow card. No one seems to have like any one-on-ones that they can handle currently. My only problem is in the second half, if we don't shore up that midfield to help out the defense, we're going to start losing ground. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Hopefully not. Daz, thoughts on that first 45?
Absolutely delighted with it, Holly. Yeah, it was the first 5-10 minutes. The Leicester kept the ball. We didn't really get a touch, and then after that, we just sprang into life and was brilliant. We could have nearly had more if it had been that first chance where it was ASM that took the shot. If that had been the reverse of ASM passing it in and Wilson taking the shot, Wilson would have buried it. But hey, I'll take 2-0 up at half time. I'm absolutely delighted. I think just keep at it in the second half. Don't change anything really, and just make sure we don't just sit back and invite them on. Just keep trying. And the other thing I was going to say with the team with Dark Forces, and before you go to Princess Leia, I said I'd bring out the lightsaber. So bring it on, Chris. Over to you, buddy.
Love it. Yeah, Chris, what do you make of the first half?
Well, conveniently, my Leia muffs came off because I had to charge my earphones now. Great first half. Dubravka kept us in it, and then we didn't take the first chance, and we thought the question was, would that be our only chance in the first half? And then we didn't take that chance, but we got the next two chances, and we buried it in the back of the net. What can I say? The may the force be with Newcastle.
Yeah, I think most of us will be in agreement that we'll stick with the same team going into the second half. Steve, would you stick with the same team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to change it. I think that we've got into a comfortable lead, but a lot of praise has to go to Dubravka. He's had an outstanding first half. They're just going through the saves that he's pulled off, and there's at least 5 point-blank saves that Dubravka has pulled off to keep Newcastle in this. I mean, the goals were scored were good goals. Really, we should have had another 2. The shot that St. Maximin had where he picked the wrong side and Schmeichel got down well to save it. Should have took that in the bottom corner. And then Callum Wilson went through as well, one-on-one, and then, more or less dragged his shot, weakly wide. So, I mean, we've had other chances. We could be 4-0 up. We could be 4-4 if it hadn't been for Dubravka. I don't think he'll change it. People in the chat are concerned, I see, about the team talk that Bruce is going to give, but I don't know. I think the shackles are off. The pressure's on Leicester for the Champions League spot. Newcastle don't seem to be feeling the pressure, but we've got ourselves into a great position. It would be a pity if we chucked these 3 points away. But I think all of us would appreciate, before kickoff, we would have all taken a draw down here. So, look, if the worst case happens and Leicester score early, it's going to be backs against the wall and defending. But you know what? We've got Dubravka in goal, and I think, I think we've got a chance of getting something out of this game now. I will be surprised if Leicester come back and win this 3-2. I think there's more goals in it for everybody. So, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the second half, and I've got to be honest, I wasn't looking forward to this game at all.
Yeah, totally the same for me. Rich, do you think that there'll be more goals in this game for Newcastle, or do you think that Leicester will get back into it?
I definitely think there's more goals in it. I just don't know which way they're going to go. Obviously, the Dubravka's kept Newcastle in it probably on 4 or 5 occasions there, and keeping them out. But they're the same at the other end of the field. Schmeichel made a fantastic 1-on-1 save with off St. Maximin as well. So we could have had a definite third. Really, Wilson's a little bit harder. Probably should have took on his left. I think the only concern I've got is for the second half is we had a very similar first half against West Ham where we were 2-0 up at half time, and we came out backs against the wall, just trying to sit on what we had. And I think that's not the way to go with this game. We need to keep going exactly like the way we're doing and not invite Leicester on us, because I think Leicester have got a lot better attacking players than what West Ham did. And West Ham got back to 2-2 with 10 men. So if we do that, Leicester will definitely get back in the game. I would just literally, it's the easiest team talk you can do. Just say to them, just continue what you're doing. They've been absolutely fantastic that first half. I think 5 minutes at the end of the half and 5 minutes to start, Leicester were pretty dominant and had the. They've actually looked like the away team, hitting us on the break sometimes, but we've actually looked really, really good. And I would just keep it going, keep doing exactly what we've been doing. Because 2-0 is always a dangerous scoreline. If they get the next goal, they're right back in it. if we get the third, I think that's game over.
Yeah, I think that as long as we have the 2-0 lead, we will be fine. It's just worrying if they score, because they do have a massive goal threat and you're constantly worrying every time they get in the box. Kieran, do you see many more goals in this game, and who to?
Well, what we can't afford to do is give away an early goal in the second half, because then we're in trouble, and then they've got something to fight for, then, haven't they? I've noticed that last 5-10 minutes of that second half, we're starting to drop back a bit. We can't do that. I mean, I say it all the time. What the coach says to me on Saturday, and everyone, like, that attack's the best form of defence. You know what I mean? You don't sit back, especially when you've got 2-0 lead, because like you say, anything can still happen. But I do feel like with the Dubravka goal, we have that kind of solidarity, if that makes sense, because shot stopping wise, he's pretty good, isn't he? Like, I am concerned about this playing out from the back. Larky, it's just we don't have the players to do it, and every time we do it, they just kick it long or go straight to the Leicester player when they press us. So I mean, they are going to do it. They need to do it properly. I think, they'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, Al Walid, going into the second half, do you think we'll keep the same momentum?
We should play the same. We should, as I said, we should to take advantage of the spaces behind. But I think Rodgers, he will. In first half, I noticed the focus. He's also focused in the deep to attack in the middle deeply into center back. He should play. I think he will gonna play more on the sides to break the defense of Newcastle. So this is, I think, this is the plan, and I think they need to put maybe one defensive midfielder to just prevent the counter attack.
Yeah, we're approaching the second half soon. There's only a couple of minutes to go. Donell, is there anything you'd make a change in that second half? Is there anything you do differently, or would you just stay the same?
I think we need to turn the screw second half. Don't sit on 2-0. And basically get that third goal, and then maybe bring on, as Al Walid said, a central defensive midfielder just to tighten things up, and then I think we'd be all right. Need that next goal, though. We need that next goal, because if Leicester get it, then we're in trouble. But we need to score next. That's what I would say.
If we do go on to win this game, Pete, how big do you think that'll be for Newcastle, and do you think that'll definitely guarantee your safety?
100%. I don't see Fulham winning on Sunday against Burnley, and I don't actually see Fulham winning the week after away at Southampton. So we get the points tonight, the 3 points, we're safe as far as I'm concerned. It might not be mathematical right now if we do get the 3 points, but it will be very shortly. So, it is, like one or two have said already, we're in this position a couple of weeks ago against West Ham. So you would like to think that regardless of what Steve Bruce says to them in the changing rooms, that actually these players will learn from experience and learn from the fact that they gifted West Ham an opportunity back into the game. The key for us now is the first 15 minutes of the second half. If we can stay strong, if we can put pressure on Leicester like we did in the first half, going the other way and causing them problems and making them go backwards, that can only be a good thing for us. And it can take the pressure off the defence. The defence won't feel under the cosh. The Dubravka won't feel under the cosh. And then we can work our way into the second half. And then at 2-0 up, the longer and the deeper you get into the second half, the more pressure it puts on Leicester, the more that we can just kind of keep the ball as far away from our goal as possible. And hopefully we can see it out. Fingers crossed these boys learn from their previous mistakes.
Yeah, the thing is there's a lot more pressure on Newcastle to get results from that Sheffield United and the Fulham game, because obviously we are expected to win those games with them being relegation rivals. If we win this game, though, it'll take that pressure off a little bit because we won't need to win those games. Babo, do you think that if we do win this game, then that'll relieve a lot of the pressure and we won't have to get the points against the last two teams?
I'm very much old school, Holly. I'm very much get your head down and worry about yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing, because if Fulham decide to have a freaky end to the season, then we'll start having to watch our back. So I don't, until the final whistle is blown, you're not relaxing. Get as many wins as you can, do as much work as you can, because you don't want the season to end and be like, oh, we shouldn't have relaxed at that Fulham game. We need to keep going. What I think Leicester is going to do now is like the next 5 minutes is going to be a siege on our goal, and hopefully we can use that to get a third goal and seal the game off. But I am very, very scared because Brendan Rodgers looks like he just called Mephisto on his players. So we need to we need to be very careful.
We do. The second half has kicked off now, and I think Brendan Rodgers, when the camera zoomed in on him, he does look to be taken a bit by surprise, which I think all the fans are as well. We weren't expecting this type of performance. Leicester is currently on the attack. And Daz, do you think that if we do go on to win this game, that'll completely take away our relegation worries?
Definitely, Holly. I think we're pretty safe already, but we're 9 points ahead of Fulham before the start of this game. If we win this, we're 12 points clear, and Fulham have to play Burnley, Southampton, Man United, and us. So, and that the max they could get is to level with us then. And there's no way they're going to win all those matches, or even they'll drop points in a lot of those, especially against Man United and us. But I think we win this game. We're definitely safe. Home and hose.
Yep, we've got to be. Chris, we have just started the second half now, and Leicester so far have had most of the ball. Only a couple of minutes in though. Do you think that if we go on to win this game, that will sort out our relegation worries and we won't have to be looking over our shoulder anymore?
Yeah, I'm going to do a combined answer and say that's a safe. But Babo, you play, you run through the tape, you play through the final whistle, and I don't want to see Newcastle let up and sort of go to the beach kind of mode. They definitely should win the last two matches against Sheffield and Fulham, but. Yeah, just because you've got like Man City coming up, probably the champions. I don't want to see let up, even if we win this match. May not be mathematically safe, but pretty much safe. But go for those maximum points that we can get from the remaining matches. It could be an opportunity to give some other players some chance. We don't take the final matches off and say that we've got nothing more to play for. They've got everything to play for. They can only control what happens on their pitch. They don't have any effect on the takeovers or the legal battles. But do your part. Do right by this club and this city, and play those remaining games out and go for the maximum points.
Yeah, and if we are safe this season, which I believe we will be, I think that is a miracle, really, because at one point we did just look completely done, dead and buried, like there was no coming back from it. And the fact that we managed to turn that round is incredible, really. And if we are to go into the summer and say the takeover doesn't happen and we are stuck with Steve Bruce and Mike Ashley, which I know no one wants to hear, we would have to strengthen in certain areas. Steve, what would you prioritise?
We've got to sign another centre forward for me, but we also need a creative midfield player in the centre, somebody who's got legs but can create something out of nothing. That's what we need. A lot of people might say that Willock's the answer to that, but his price is going up every game that he plays, I would imagine. And are Arsenal going to be wanting to release him? Is Arteta still going to be in the job? The new man might want to keep somebody who's performed well in the Premier League like Willock and somebody who can score goals. But yeah, things haven't changed. We need a centre forward. We need somebody who can either play alongside Callum Wilson or replace Callum Wilson when he's not able to play. So goals win games, and that's what you need. We're all right in the goalkeeping area. I think even if Caldalo leaves, we've got Woodman coming in who can be an able deputy to Dubravka and, wouldn't let us down. I think, we could probably get by with a back four as it is, but again, you need strengthening in there. We're full-backs aren't the best. And, we still really, I still think we need a decent leader at the back. We need somebody who can come in and, take the back four by the scruff of the neck and really organise them. The team really does need major surgery. We've literally been, putting elastoplast over this squad for the last 5 or 6 years. The average age of the team is 27, and that's strange for Mike Ashley. And Mike Ashley's era tended to go for younger players. But ultimately, for me, I do feel as if centre forward is the key area for us. We need goals. Goals will keep you in this division.
It does feel like that. It just feels like we are trying to patch up where we're lacking in this side, and it does need filling out a bit more because I think our bench is always pretty weak. Rich, would you prioritise a striker as well?
I think a striker is essential because we proved how bad we were without Wilson, that we didn't have any depth really in that, Premier League depth anyway in that front. I also think we need to prioritise a right back as well. Because I don't think Manquillo and Kraft, if we're going to go back to a back four, are Premier League class. I think Manquillo is not bad as a backup, but I wouldn't have one as my first choice right back. So I think that's also another priority. And probably a creative midfielder as well. I think that's probably where I would be focusing on the three major areas. Possibly if we're looking at a fourth, I think it all depends on at the centre half which contracts are renewed, who's let go, and stuff like that. We might need to have a look at a centre-half position as well.
Yeah, Steve made a good point about Freddie Woodman. He has been on loan for a long time now, constantly getting sent out on loan. And Martin Dubravka is getting on a bit now, which I know Pete mentioned earlier. And of course, we're not going to get years and years out of him. So, Kieran, would you recall Freddie Woodman and try and integrate him back into this side?
How old is he now? He must be like 23, isn't he? 24? Getting on a bit, isn't he? Just kidding.
He should retire.
Yeah, no.
I'm booking my funeral at 49.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no. It all depends, doesn't it? It all depends with the ownership. All depends with the ownership. Are they going to want to
do that Watson against him?
Shut up, here. All they
two of them.
I think if Swansea could get promoted, they'll probably buy him. But there was talk about Arsenal trying to buy him as well. Now I don't know if that'll happen. Right? It all depends, doesn't it?
Arsenal have been keen on Freddie Woodman for a while because his dad's the goalkeeping coach there.
Yeah.
Obviously his dad was the goalkeeping coach with us under Pardew. So there's always been a link there with Freddie Woodman and Arsenal. But for me, regardless of what he wants, I'd be bringing him back in.
Look at the goalkeeper here again.
I mean, to be fair, if we say Dubravka is 33,
okay.
Wow.
If Dubravka is 33, then we might as well just bring Freddie back in because it doesn't make sense pragmatically to say, oh, this guy's gonna be reaching 35 soon and then leave the potential for the future to leave. But that's what we've constantly been doing, and it's not working out for us.
Yeah, I think it is hard because we don't know where we're going to be in the summer. It's going to be a very interesting window. We have a lot of players out of contract and there's a lot of uncertainty. It could go one way or the other. Really, it's hard to say what's going to happen.
I think Darlow's gone though, so we should have Freddie Woodman as the backup, number 2.
I mean, there was talk of then bring Jetro Williams back in the day. I'm thinking, why? He's not a left back. He can't play in the back four. We need someone like a proper left back that can do a job. We buy these players that they can't adapt to the position, that don't actually play left back. He's good going forward, but he can.
Tell you what, right? From my view, we need the creative midfielders because we have the wingers, we have the strikers. Joe Linton has proven that if you give him enough chances, he will put one in the back of the net. So we need midfielders that can actually look at what Joe Willock is adding to our team just because he can run from box to box. So we need players like that. We need players that don't die after 70 minutes. We need those players. We need box-to-box midfielders.
Yeah.
And we need a centre-back, a proper centre-back, like one of those old school centre-backs that will take a boot to the face and still get up after. Not all this Fabian Schär fine boy football. I don't like. I love Fabian Schär, but he plays too much fine boy football. I'm like, you're not a model. If you wanted to do that off the pitch.
Richie played great ball in not long ago, and speaking of Matt Ritchie, I think that one of the biggest problems this season's been the captain. Obviously, Jamal Lascelles hasn't really been up to it, and now John Joe Shelby's got the captaincy, which is basically just a waste of time. He doesn't play any better, and he doesn't act like a captain. Most people call for Matt Ritchie to have the armband, but going into next season, we really need to sort that problem out. Al Walid, who would you give the captaincy to next season?
From the current squad, maybe I give it to Wilson. For Wilson, for the captain. But I think Steve Bruce, we know all, and I agree with you all, guys, for what the players we need. But I think Steve Bruce, if he's continue starting with the next season, I think he will focus to bring to give Willock as a priority, and second priority is defensive player, because obviously we have not stable lineup every game, different lineup, especially for the defense. The right back is left, the center back is right, and it's totally mess. So I think he's not happy with the defense line he had.
Oh.
Yeah. Willock, I thought, had an injury there. He's now back on his feet. That would have been a massive, massive blow for us if he had gotten an injury. Thankfully,
he was hit in the back of the leg.
Yeah. Hope it's okay. There's Perez warming up now. That's someone I hope doesn't come on, because I hate playing against Perez. I constantly worry that he's just going to get a bit of revenge and score against us. I'm just not a fan. Dunil, I'll ask you the same question about the captain. Who would you put as the captain next season?
I have to say Matt Ritchie, being that what I saw, I think, was in the Liverpool game, which game it was. He was barking orders to everybody. You go there, you go there. Don't see Shelby doing that. So I'll have to say Matt Ritchie for me.
Yeah, great shout. Very popular option. Looking at this game now, I don't know how anyone else feels, but I think Leicester, they're putting a lot of good chances in. They're having the chances, and I don't want to speak too soon, but they just don't seem to be having that final product and putting them away. And I don't want to curse us, so don't blame me for all goes wrong, okay? But
I'm definitely blaming you if it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
Please don't. I'll feel bad. Honestly.
And again, go on. No.
Who is that?
I think that's Stephen's dad. Yeah. So I don't even know what I was talking about now. Oh yeah, so they don't seem to have that final product. I'm hoping that's the case. Pete, do you feel the same? Do you think Leicester just are lacking that final product and that hopefully they won't score?
They are at the moment, and long may it continue. You know what? We've defended well at the moment. The only thing I worry about is our pressing from the front. You can already see that St. Maximin's not pressing as hard as he once was in the first half. Wilson's not really doing the same. Miguel Almiron and Willock are really, really working their socks off. And I worry about them later on in the game, about them getting tired. Shelby's not working hard as you would expect, but again, on the ball, he's turning over the transition of play well, which is what he's in the team for. So, you could argue that either way, but I want us to be still a threat on the attack. Because if we're still a threat on the attack, we're pushing them back. And if we're pushing them back, it gives the defence the time to get a breather. It means that we're pushing us up the field. And if we're pushing us up the field, we're not under pressure. So it all works out in our favour if we keep pushing forward. I would consider in the next 10 minutes or so, maybe switching and getting Manquillo on at right wing back, someone defensively minded that can help to see us out the game, but also can be a threat going forward because he can travel with the ball. I would consider that as an option. But yeah, we're still in this game and we're still causing them problems. There's something I was going to say, but I'll wait until the end of the game. Hopefully, when we've got 3 points to point out about this game and the flow in which it's going.
Okay, we'll look forward to waiting to see what that is. It looks like Jose Perez could be coming on. He is on the touchline getting instructions from Brendan Rodgers, so he looks to be coming on. That's what I hear. Yep, he's getting ready now to come on. 60 minutes in. Perez, I do think, can be a threat for Leicester. I know that he hasn't been one of their most popular regular starters since he joined them, but I do think that he has got a decent end product, and especially when he plays against us, he has tended to score a goal. Hopefully that's not the case tonight. Babo, do you think Perez will score tonight or cause any type of threat to Newcastle?
Well, he's definitely going to cause a threat to Newcastle because he's one of the trickiest players Leicester has. Let's be fair to him. That lad has played his socks off for this club, both clubs. I have a feeling that we should take off Kraft before he gets a red card because Kraft and tricky players do not match up. Let's be fair. He's not the kind of lad that can move his feet quickly. So that's one fear. Secondly, when you were talking about captains, I was thinking Federico Fernandez. He just seems to be one of those players that's like he's a leader. He might not speak so much as Richie does, but he does his job incredibly well. I'm very surprised Shelby doesn't have a yellow card yet, so he's definitely improving. He seems to. I kid you not, it's almost like he always goes to the referee and he collects the yellow card and he pins it up in his home. So let's see. Hopefully, we can stay in front.
Hopefully, it's certainly looking that way at the moment. Perez is coming on now, 62 minutes in, and Newcastle still are on the front foot, and Leicester don't seem to be looking like they're going to score anytime soon. Again, I don't want to curse it, and I'm not taking any responsibility if they do score. But, Daz, do you think that Perez can cause a threat to Newcastle?
I think he can. I loved him when he was at Newcastle. I think this is a more attacking move they've gone with here, and yeah, I think they are going to pull one back. Hopefully, it's not until the very end, but we could be. They're going to ramp up the pressure now on us. Few questions that you had as well, Holly. And I agree with Babo on. I'd take Kraft off now. He's got the yellow card. It might be time to bring on Clark. Manquillo is another option for Murphy to bring on. On the question about the captain, I'd give it to Isaac Hayden go into next year. And on the question on transfers, if there was no takeover, I think we need 4 right through the spine: striker, midfielder, and central defender, and a right back. And if there was a takeover, we need 8.
Go on.
There you go. Go on.
Oh. Brilliant, Callum Wilson.
Yes!
Wilson, well deserved.
Finally, he scored.
Ever since he's had that injury, he wanted
He scored 3 goals when Babo or Daz or I are speaking. So we should only have the bottom row back 3 speak because that's when we score.
Oh Lord.
Who's that?
What the hell is this? Who is that? I don't even know who that is.
Sean Ryder from the Happy Mondays.
I don't know.
You know, another fine set of curtains.
We're staying up, lads. We're staying up.
Well, what can you say? Yeah, we got the 3rd goal. That's you have to say that's game,
Brilliant.
game set match. But again, play out the final 24 minutes, 25 minutes here. What was the question we were talking about? Who would be the captain? I like Richie, but I don't think he's a guaranteed start. So it probably wouldn't be him. I would probably say Callum Wilson. Of the guaranteed starters, I'd have him as the.
Come on, go. Come on. No, it was the wrong ball.
St. Maximan.
Oh my God! You missed all of them.
Nobody got there.
I think you guys are like 2 or 3 seconds ahead of me. I guess that's what I get for having BT.
Get in your TARDIS, Chris.
That's what I get for being on the planet Endor or wherever I'm coming from the Death Star here.
Honestly, Steve, on the Three Amigos, I think you should have a tune lookalike. You think just for comparisons of Chris?
We could be on all night. We need a separate show.
An hour long.
I want to get that T-shirt about the caffeine shampoo. Paging John Justice Allen.
Yes, Keith, I agree. I think I should host Match Your Life for the rest of the season, considering we've had an absolutely amazing performance today. I definitely take full credit for that. Certainly nothing to do with anyone else.
We'd win the league, Holly.
Yes. Maybe I should host a show when the arbitration case is going through, and then maybe it'll just happen and we'll get a takeover.
No, we were going to point the finger at you jinxed us, and we lost 3-2. So it's only fair that if we win, you continue it on.
Yeah, I know. I said I wasn't taking responsibility, but I'll happily take credit for the win. 3-0.
Yeah. They're not a sponsor, so I probably shouldn't show them on the screen there.
3-0 is a great result. This could arguably be one of our best performances of the season. Steve wasn't on when Callum Wilson scored, but I'm assuming you did see the goal, and it's been well deserved. He's been wanting ever since he came back from his injury. How important do you think that is for Callum Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. The confidence has flown through the team. It's just a complete contrast to last week's performance. It's and it's welcome. We were all disappointed after going on such a good run, getting so close to getting the points we needed to stay up to, to capitulate against an Arsenal team, which we all know aren't like the Arsenal team of old. But this is made up for it by, more ways than one. And we've owed Leicester a hiding for a few years now. They've beaten us convincingly at home and away on many occasions. And nobody saw this coming. One or two may have, but the majority of the fan base weren't looking forward to this tonight. And as Tom Dixon says, it's men against boys. And everything just seems to be falling for Newcastle, from the injury to Evans before the game, to, Leicester missing a few chances, to Dubravka pulling off some fantastic saves. Everything Newcastle's hit. There's another save from Dubravka. Everything Hollywood. Newcastle hit, everything is Newcastle's hits almost to end up in the back of the net. Leicester have put a few chances wide or come up against Dubravka, who's in scintillating form. So, yeah, look, it's great. And Wilson, great to see him on the score sheet. He's, there's no doubt he's going to finish as our top scorer for this season, and let's just hope he gets a little bit of support next season and gets that opportunity to continue in the same vein. And great night at the office. 22 minutes left. Newcastle 3-0 up.
Perhaps we'll get Sergio Aguero next season if the takeover goes through.
I would 250 take him in a heartbeat.
250 grand a week he's demanding, isn't he?
One thing I'll say is that what Wilson's on 11 goals. And you think he missed 9-10 weeks of the season injured with his hamstring, and some of those games, if you look at the games that he missed, you would have put your house on the fact that he would have scored some goals in those games.
Yes.
You just think, also, fair play, 11 goals.
Also, it wasn't like we're creating the most in those games, so that he scored. So if we had like a second player that was that good, I mean, top half finish is
I agree.
feasible.
I agree.
Leicester have made a substitution. They brought on Thomas for Ricardo, trying to change up the game. I do think it's pretty pointless now. We are 70 minutes in, 3-0 up. I don't think Leicester can really do anything to salvage this game now. But it does seem a bit like the roles have reversed, because I think in the first 10 minutes or so, it looked like Newcastle were getting chances and they just couldn't put them away. Now it's kind of Leicester, they're just not taking advantage of their chances, whereas whenever we have a decent chance, we seem to be scoring, which is probably maybe a change in mindset, maybe just a collective team thing. And I think that Callum Wilson does have a big responsibility to play for that, because he is just a natural goal scorer. I think it proves why he's so important in this side. Rich, do you think that Callum Wilson is kind of the person that should get the praise for the goals? I know he hasn't scored all of the goals, but he is constantly there, and I feel like our attack is much more organised when he is in the team.
I think it's a bit like when Sam Maximin came back as well. It's one of these things that because of the quality of the player, other people are having to pay attention to them. And the thing is with Wilson, he's head and shoulders the best striker that we've got at the club. Everyone knows what quality he's got. That's the same with Sam Maximin as well. You know, he deals with it another way by taking 2 or 3 people out of the game at once. Whereas with Wilson, it's his pace, it's his movement that causes trouble for all the defence. I think all of them coming back have all been integral parts of the recent upturn in their form for Newcastle. It's improved over that time when we had Miggy out, ASM out, and Wilson out. That we went through that barren patch. We took out our 3 probably best attacking players, and any team who you take the front 3 off from Liverpool, they're going to struggle as well, because Origi and Jota isn't on the same level as Firmino, Salah, and Mane. So I think it's just that forwards that we've got. Take those quality out, and we are going to miss all of them. I must say that the ball from Richie for Wilson's goal was a cracking ball. The perfect weight, and he was able to outmuscle the defender. Quality striker, finish round the keeper. So I think Richie coming back in as well has been a huge lift to the team as well. That coincides with when San Maximin then not came back as well.
Yeah, we are 72 minutes in now. We still haven't made a substitution, and we are 3-0 up. St. Maximin, a great ball to Almiron, struggling to break down the Leicester defence.
How can you go all the way back from that? How can you go all the way back from that?
Passing back. Yes, we are 72 minutes into the game now, 3-0 up. It doesn't look like we're going to get beaten this game. So now Al-Walid, I missed Kieran out. Now, Kieran, do you think it's time to make any substitutions?
I don't think so, no, because everyone's. They're not making any really many mistakes, are they? So don't really need to. Don't really need to. He's missing!
Yes, Wilson!
Yeah!
Yes!
I can't believe it. Oh my god!
So happy
It went from. Well, we did say we'll see 4 goals in this game sometime. So I guess we saw 4 goals.
Hey, class. Well, Pete and I said play with me 2-2, so that's 4 goals right there.
You can't be
I'm pretty sure Kieran predicted a 4-0 defeat.
Yeah, I did. Right.
Maybe it's like reverse psychology,
What a finish that was, wasn't it?
We're now 4-0 up. Callum Wilson scored. Didn't look like it was going to go in. It did get a deflection off the bar, and then he got it in with a second attempt. Yeah. Callum Wilson now 2 goals. He's really back on top form. Maybe he can go for the hat-trick. You never know. Now you probably would be looking to rest players, though, because you wouldn't want to risk an injury for the Sheffield United and the Fulham game, which are really important. Al-Walid, is there anyone you would take off to rest them and bring someone else on?
I didn't think they were going to think of this now. But actually, I'm happy I see this game. It's I think this is the best game of Newcastle this season. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Newcastle are just, they've had an absolute blind of a game, really. Never ever could expect this 4-0. Biggest win of the season so far. And wow, what else can you say, really? It's just been an absolutely great game. They've really taken their chances and they've done everything we could ask them to. There's nothing more we could have really asked from this side. I know we've had moments where we've complained, but overall it's been a great performance. Donnell, coming to you, what do you think of this game so far?
Absolutely brilliant. The beer tastes so good, man. The beer has never tasted better. But yeah, great performance. It's, you know, will the real Newcastle please stand up? You know, and no, I really enjoyed it. And I apologize for the technology lapses earlier on, but hey, great, absolutely great. You know. And let's get number 5. Let's go for 5.
That's all we need.
Enough. Let's go 5.
That's all we need.
Willock's now down with an injury, seems to hurt his ankle.
He'll be off back to Arsenal now tonight with treatment.
I'm hoping it's nothing serious, because that would be a massive miss if we couldn't play the last couple of games.
If he can play the last couple of games, he's done his job.
Yeah.
He's done his job.
I hope it's cramp, not his hamstring. I hope it's cramping, not his hamstring.
I don't think this bloke can last 90 minutes now. I've noticed he's always blowing out of his arse, isn't he?
He's too old. He's too old, Kieran.
Yeah. 21, I think.
Yeah.
Far too old, that.
It's a hamstring.
Yeah.
No, I think
Willock's now on his feet.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have to run for 2 people.
I can definitely see Arsenal keeping him next season, especially with the mess they're in. If he can't get in their team, then bloody hell, I mean, look how bad they are. Christ.
Leicester, I mean, the third and final sub, and Sean Longstaff just came on. Is that for Joe Willock? Does anyone know?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
So Willock's gone off and Sean's came on. It'll be nice to see Sean get a few minutes. I'm hoping it's nothing serious for Joe Willock, because that would be just such a massive devastation if he was to get an injury that end of the season. Hopefully now, I think it was wise Bruce has taken him off, and hopefully that he can recover in time for the next game. We now no, we don't anymore. We've lost it. Pete, obviously brilliant game, 4-0 up. What do you make of this game?
At this moment in time, I'm just pissing off all my Leicester. I've got to be honest. I'm going on the chats and it's just deadly silent, and I'm living every second of this. I've got to be honest. Look, it's a performance that none of us in the chat, none of us in the panel would have ever imagined, and I'm just enjoying every single moment of this, because look, this is just safe now. This is just safe.
Yeah.
Mathematically confirmed on Sunday, in my opinion. We have been outstanding for nearly 78 minutes. And you know what? More than anything, I really hope that we get a clean sheet tonight, because I think we fucking deserve it. We deserve a clean sheet tonight. So hopefully the boys don't switch off for the next 12, 15 minutes, however long, with extra time. Because we deserve a clean sheet tonight. We have outplayed them, particularly in the second half. We've soaked everything up. We've made big saves and big tackles when we've needed to. But you know what? Fair play, because we've dug in and we've made them work the other end of the pit. And the quality's shone through. And fair play.
Yeah, the cameras have just zoomed into Joe Willock and he's walking. He seems to look okay. He's smiling, so I'm hoping that he's all right, and it is just going to be a case of rest until the next game. He's just going to the stands now to join the rest of the squad. But this game, you can't believe that Leicester are a Champions League side like this. And as well, we've got to remember, this side from Leicester is a full-strength side. It was really good. We all looked at that lineup and thought, my God, that is an intimidating side to play. And we just seem to have not been put off by that at all, which is a mentality thing. Babbo, do you think the reason that we have...
We didn't need that.
It's okay. It was bound to happen. You know why it was bound to happen? Because we haven't made a substitution in that long.
Yeah.
The players are tired.
We literally just made one, but it was too late. You're right.
Now you see what I mean? This is what frustrates me about Steve Bruce. He's like, oh, we're 4-0 up. Put the players on the bench in the game. You have nothing to lose. Right? It's when we're losing like 3-0, that's when you start throwing everyone and you're like, no, you should have done this. He doesn't have the mentality of a manager that wants more. That's the problem. And what we were saying earlier about like he's been nominated for Manager of the Month, he did good, but not nominated. Like he got 2 wins and 2 draws.
The score's now 4-1. Leicester have just scored. Albrighton scored. Disappointing to concede. I know you were hoping for the clean sheet, but it's not the end of the world. We have still played really well, and we will go on to win this game. Daz, obviously, we're a bit disappointed that we've scored, but do you think that the reason we've went on to win this game was because of a mentality thing? We didn't let the pressure of playing Leicester, who's an excellent side, get to us?
Yeah, that's a factor, Holly. We just turned up today, and I think Steve mentioned it as well towards the start of the game, where Evans getting injured before the kickoff really messed Leicester up and changed their formation and their personnel. So what they'd been working on in training went out the window then. No, they should be able to adjust to that and have a plan B. But it was just played into our hands, and we upped our own game as well. So looks like the Arsenal game was a blip. Our run continues, and I think Steve Bruce, I don't normally give him credit, and I did give him credit before the last show I was on, but he does deserve the Manager of the Month, and fair play to him. Because a couple of weeks ago we said we're dead and buried, and he really turned it around. So fair play to him.
Yeah, I think that it is, with us conceding this goal, I think it is a case of kind of making subs too late. I think once we were 3-0 up, we should have made subs really just to protect players from injury. And if we had to have took Willock off earlier, then maybe we wouldn't have got that injury. Of course, we didn't, and it is just unfortunate and one of those things. And now, well, we will go on to win the game, but I still would make some more substitutions just to protect players. There's 10 minutes to go. Chris, do you think there's any more goals in this game? That's the best one yet.
Who is that?
Liam Gallagher.
I don't have bangs like that. And that's like yeah.
Chris, did you seriously just ask who Liam Gallagher was? That is shocking, man.
That was a bad haircut from Liam Gallagher. So yeah, I couldn't get past the haircut. That was so long ago for me. I don't know. That was 90s. That was 20.
Oh, that's it.
No, I was 13 in the 90s. Anyways, get back to the game. You want to, you always want to see a clean sheet, and it's disappointing to concede. Because I always like to improve on our goal difference, even though we're not in any kind of tiebreaker situation. So that's disappointing to not finish that off. But it's like a win is a win, whether it's 3-2 or 4-0. Here comes Joe Linton. Joe Linton, we'll get the 5th goal. Let's say that.
Amen to that.
3 minutes. Joe Linton just came on for St. Maximin after a brilliant shift from St. Maximin. Steve, do you think there's any more goals in this game? Do you think Joe Linton will get a goal?
I'd love to see him score. I mean, it's a good point as well. Graham Coleman's saying, I wonder if Ben Jacobs is watching. I watched what he was saying earlier on. He's a Leicester fan, of course.
Yeah, this is the Leicester derby for.
EB is sick as a chip, I'm feeling great for Pete as well, because he lives Leicester. He's not too far from the ground, and as he says, Pete's on the message boards tonight, and all his WhatsApp groups show all his Leicester pals. He'll be having a good night. But yeah, I'd like to see a 5th goal. There's always something about hitting 5, isn't there? The pity were conceded, but to be fair, Leicester have deserved a goal. They have contributed to the game. Dubravka's been outstanding. I've said that each time I've been on. There's always been a good save from Dubravka, and look, it's just great. You know, this is our Premier League. We're safe anyway, but this is our Premier League safety guaranteed now. Leicester haven't really turned up after that injury to Evans, and Newcastle have pressed and they've took the advantage and they've scored the goals that they've needed. And Fulham aren't going to win 4 games, I'm afraid. So you know that's it now. It's job done for Newcastle. We probably needed 1 more point. We've got 3. Job done. Well done, Steve Bruce. Deserves manager of the month.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Steve Bruce deserves massive credit at the end of the season because it is hard to have saved that team. I mean, everything about that team was just destined for relegation at one point, and he's turned that around. And if he does leave in the summer, which I'm hoping he does, he should leave with some respect. I don't think we can really stop him off too much. But this game, it really reminds you of why we miss going to the game so much, I think, because Leicester's one of my favourite away days. Not so much last season when we went and we got beat 5-0, although it was still a decent day, to be fair, despite the result. And obviously, I know 10,000 fans are back in for Sheffield. Rich, do you think that the 10,000 fans at Sheffield will have a positive impact against that Sheffield team?
I think it will. It'd be nice to see obviously crowds back in the stadium. I think it'll be nice as well because obviously with this result now, safety is secure, especially with Fulham playing Burnley on Monday night. So obviously both teams can't win there. So you know, even if Fulham win, it keeps Burnley below us by 3 points, and then yes, mathematically Fulham can catch the reward, but. Yeah, against Sheffield United, it'll be good for the fans to go in and show their appreciation for at least the last 6 weeks or so of the season. I think the only thing that will be lucky for Steve Bruce's point of view is that he didn't have the fans in earlier on the season because he would have definitely got another goal back.
Yeah, Leicester scored a second.
Because they bloody couldn't control the ball there.
No, he couldn't head in the ball.
Yeah.
Kieran's.
Now 4-2, 86 minutes in. Leicester scored a second. We really shouldn't allow this to happen. I think we're being a bit lazy now. We're just not being as sharp. We think, game's done, we've won the game. But there's no need for those 2 goals being conceded. Leicester have deserved a goal, but they shouldn't have at this point, 86 minutes in, and it's just a bit sloppy, really, from the defence. Kieran, what do you think of the fact that Leicester have came back with 2 goals?
It's just typical us, though, isn't it? We let them back in the game with bloody 5 minutes left. I'll tell you what, you're going on about bloody manager of the month. Imagine if they bottle this. You can't imagine if they bottle this, the amount of bloody stick you'll get off of this.
It's the consistency. I understand that Bruce had a bad season to start with, and then he picked it up. But this is why we were having problems like that at the start. I mean, I've not seen City in the last 5 years ever stop trying to score in a game, regardless of what time it was. So this is basically what's happening. I don't know. I'm not mad at it. It's natural. I'm Nigerian, so I'm like, before African Cup of Nations come, please get the goals you're going to get.
Yeah, Newcastle's made their third and final sub of tonight's game. They brought on Jeff Hendrick. There's only a couple of minutes to go now. It's looking like we're still going to hold on, but Leicester on the attack again, and this just really is. There's no excuse from the defence that are just totally slacking off now, and there was no need for those goals to have been conceded. Al-Walid, how do you feel about the fact that Leicester's came back with 2 goals?
It made me feel worried for a while. It's obviously we are exhausted, and Steve Bruce should put some players for refreshing. But always, this is what he does. We can't, and even with 4 goals, you have to make us uncomfortable until last second, unfortunately.
It is true. Newcastle never do anything the easier way.
No.
Dunil, I do think we will still win this game. Do you think there's any chance that Leicester could go on to score another 2 goals?
I'll tell you what, if the defence starts slacking off any further, Leicester think, here we go, we're still in this. But no, defence have got to keep that, because you don't stop until the final whistle.
Yeah.
Whistle ain't gone, you play to the whistle, Professionalism. Those 2 goals were a bit sloppy, I must admit. First one was good, but it was very sloppy.
how they let Leicester back in. Very sloppy.
Yes.
For me. So I think we should hold on, but we haven't made it easy for ourselves. But I suppose that comes with supporting Newcastle. It's never easy. It's never straightforward, is it?
Very,
Never is, Donald.
Leicester now back on the attack again. They've just put a cross in.
Wow, no need.
And that, the players seem to be a bit frustrated now. Steve Bruce certainly looks annoyed on the touchline, which you would be. We just are making things hard for ourselves when there's no need to. 4-0 up and you just think that's game done. But yet again, we can't just do that. And if we'd slacked off like this any earlier on in the game, we could have went on to draw or lose this game. It's just totally not wrong. Emil Kraft had the ball and he's being pushed off. Pete, how are you feeling at this stage of the game? 4 minutes added time, by the way, full time.
Fuck yeah, they don't half make it hard for us, do they? Yeah, I mean, we're cruising 4-0 and then, Steve was right. They probably deserved a goal. I would have liked to have got a clean sheet because I think the boys at that point had worked really hard for it. But, the second goal was just lazy, poor defending and then it just adds pressure onto the team now. And outstanding.
What a save.
Outstanding save.
My Jose.
It's unnecessary pressure. It's just unnecessary pressure on the team.
That's a t-shirt, don't know.
But you know what? We've got 3 minutes to go. We just need to hold out now because more than anything, the 3 points is all that matters. But yeah, look, it's just classic Newcastle. We've been here before. We know the score. We don't make it simple. We make it difficult. But I mean, that save! Wow. That's why he's number one. That is why he's number one. Martin Dubravka.
Point blank.
Yeah. Paul Dummett does deserve a bit of credit for that clearance as well. But yet another good chance from Jose Perez. You can tell Martin Dubravka's exhausted now and he is quite annoyed with the defence, as you would be as a goalkeeper, because it's just totally not on. Babo, what do you think has caused us to slack off like this in the final minutes of the game?
We know the kind of manager we have. That's why we can slack off. It's not. There's nothing surprising about that. We've done it all season, so it's expected. If I was Dubravka, these defenders they're messing with his money. You know how much money keepers get for clean sheets, and these guys are basically like, we have 4. Let's just give them a couple. I mean, it's disgraceful. But that's why I said, like, I do like.
One.
We have to be consistent in judging these managers. No manager is supposed to be losing control of games like this. Without Dubravka, we'll be 6 down. It's just not. It's not fair on the players. It's not even fair on Dubravka because he's having to, for some reason, keep us from losing so many points on his own. Because there is not the level of tactical knowledge that the players need. They don't have. So let's just write this out and for the rest of the season try and keep going. Because I do not believe until the whistle goes, you're safe. I do not believe it.
Yeah, I agree.
You definitely meant that, didn't he, Shelby?
1 minute left.
His yellow card?
Took a very poor free kick. It's now going to a corner, I think. Daz, what do you think about the fact that we slacked off? Do you think that there's anyone specifically to blame for that? Do you think it's the defence? It's got to be frustrating for Martin Dubravka.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone particular to blame. They're 4-0 up. They're not used to being 4-0 up. They're not used to being 2-0 up. So, yeah, look, it would have been really worried if they got back to 4-3. But yeah, it's going to be game over now. There's only 20 seconds left. We've won this and we're safe. I don't care. We let in 2 goals. So what? It's
we're going for a shot.
We live to see another season in the Premier League. Hopefully not under Mike Ashley and with Steve Bruce.
Such an awful season.
Full time, Newcastle 4, Leicester 2. What a game! Brilliant.
My God.
How do we feel, lads? This has been
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's bad for your health.
It has, definitely. We'll go through the panel, get everyone's thoughts on the game overall. Steve, starting with you, what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, look, I didn't see that coming. Completely wrong with me prediction. I knew there'd be goals, thought they'd all be in Newcastle's nets. Didn't factor in that Dubravka was going to have an absolute blinder. Leicester's forward's going to have an absolute stinker, and that they were going to lose their main centre-half before the game. But, yeah, look, fortune was on our side tonight, but we still had to put the ball in the back of the net, and we did it 4 times. And that was a fantastic performance. Brendan Rodgers' teams do tend to freeze when they get into these positions. It's a problem sometimes that sport teams have. You choke. That's what it's called. Sports psychology tells you that. And I think that's the problem with Leicester. Spurs are a little bit the same when they get to the later stages of competitions. They just choke. They can't seem to get it over the line. It's where the phrase "always the bridesmaid" comes from. And Leicester are a good team. I like them. I just don't usually like playing them, but tonight was great. And I've been lucky to see some pretty good games against Leicester at St James's Park and at Leicester. I was of course down at Leicester when we won the infamous 2-1 game to keep away from the 3rd division. I saw Roy Aitken's debut when Newcastle won 5-4. I saw that wonderful 4-3 game when Shearer got a hat-trick. So I've been lucky to see some good wins against Leicester. Sitting at home watching this one on the TV was just as good though. And, really, Leicester still have a chance of Champions League, although that's affected it a bit tonight. The home form, like Toon Stato had said on the Amigos, wasn't great, and that's proved to be the case. But look, wonderful win. Newcastle are definitely safe now. 39 points off 35 games. Fulham now on 27. They need a miracle, and it's not going to happen. They need 12 points to go level now. It's just, look, Newcastle United safe. They're going to be in the Premier League next season, and that's it. I've got no concerns at all. So well done to Steve Bruce. Deserves manager of the month. And just seeing some highlights of the entertainers again, which let's hope that the takeover goes through and that we get a new manager in, and we're going back to those kind of days very, very soon.
Hear, hear.
Love to see days like that back, yeah.
Man of the match, Dubravka, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. I would go with Dubravka as well. We're now 39 points, only 1 point off 40. The magic 40 points, 13th in the table, our favourite position to finish in recent years. Rich, what's your thoughts on the game?
Well, as Steve said, none of us saw it coming, did we? I did go for a score draw, and I would have been happy with that. It's hard, at the end of it, that's happened. But beyond your wireless dreams, that up until the 80 minutes mark, you 4-0, it's like dreamland. It's nice to be putting the ball in the back of the net for a change, and unfortunately, the rest of the team decided that they wanted to go on the beach for the last 10 minutes of the game and just make it a little bit hard for us. But I think I agree with what Steve and what yourself said. Yes, we scored 4 goals and we looked good going forward. But if it wasn't for Dubravka and his performance at the back today, it could have been 4-4 at half time. And then obviously he's made some more good saves in the second half as well. So it's onwards and upwards. Season technically done now. We can relax and probably play a bit more free flowing football for the rest of the seasons. With security safe now, and let's roll on the summer. Hopefully get this takeover done and dusted as we all want. And I still think that's going to happen. And then hopefully we're looking at going up the table and top half finishes rather than always looking over our shoulder at are we going to be fighting relegation?
Man of the match to Dubravka, did you say?
Yeah, Dubravka as well. Completely agree. If it wasn't for his performance, especially first half, where it could have been 4-4 at half time, then he kept it going in the second half. It was unfortunate, the first goal. I thought it was a decent finish by Brighton. Sloppy defending for the second, but his performance up until the conceded goal, it was very reminiscent of his debut against Man United, where he literally kept every single thing out that he was high at him. So I feel a little bit sorry he didn't get the clean sheet, but he still gets man of the match for one hell of a performance.
Yeah, Kieran, your thoughts on man of the match?
I mean, man of the match, I'm going to go for Dubravka. Yet again, so brilliant shot stops again. His distribution is probably the only downhill bit for him, but apart from that, he was amazing, and he kept us. I mean, to think that we're 13th in the league now, we'd never have said that. What, 3-4 weeks ago? It's mad, isn't it? Like, I mean, 12 points, yeah, definitely staying up now. I mean, I don't see. I think the team that Fulham would be worried about now is probably Burnley. So we'll be fine, definitely. It's just about next season now and what happens. I mean, I've seen last night that Benitez was on Sky Sports. It's pretty obvious that he's waiting for the job if this somehow manages to go through. But I don't know. Just a quick question: does anyone think that and Saint Maximin and Rafa Benitez would go well together? So I can't really picture that, to be honest.
No.
I don't know if any of you agree. I just don't think he's the kind of player that would go well with each other. I don't know. Just what your thoughts on that.
One of them I'm willing to live with anyway.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't think he's someone he would buy. But that's definitely going to be someone he's going to work with.
Yeah. I just think we could. Part of me feels like we've had like sort of 13, 14 years of dross football. Why not change it up and bring in like a coach that plays a front foot football instead of like Benitez is like sort of sit back, and I know it's a lot better than Bruce, like, but you just want to see some entertaining football, don't you? You don't want to just like sit back all the time at teams, especially if you're able to attract good players. You know what I mean? Like, so hopefully, it just depends on who they go for. If they don't get Benitez, like, I'm not really sure who it would be, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that St. Maximin, if Bruce left and Rafa Benitez came in, he'd be mad not to like keep him in the side, really, because St. Maximin's a massive talent. But I would be happy to see Rafa Benitez come in. Al Walid, your thoughts on man of the match?
Sorry?
What's your thoughts on the game and the man of the match?
Okay, let's start with Newcastle. Actually, I'm happy with the best game of the season. I think Steve Bruce worked on the counter attack very well. I noticed important point. I noticed Saint Maximin doesn't dribble as usual, which is a good thing because usually he frustrates us. Sometimes he just dribble with the ball and got injured and frustrate his teammates. So this is good thing. I noticed him when he have the ball, he played very quickly to Wilson or Willick, and this is or Almiron. This was positive thing today. It was a change. I think also for man of the match, I will give it to all of the players, but of course, I would choose Willick because first goal was important to give the team the confidence. It's about respecting and underestimating. I think we all expect we're gonna beat Arsenal, and they beat us with their second team. And we noticed today everyone was thinking Leicester will win. Even me, I said 3 or 4-0, and it was turned out for Newcastle. I think also Leicester City, they underestimate us tonight. I believe maybe you will call me overthinking, but I think Rodgers thinking of a Chelsea game and FA Cup, they're trying something new with their tactics today, and he didn't expect this good organization from Newcastle.
Donnell, your thoughts on man of the match?
I'll have to go with the keeper. He kept us in it. I mean, if it wasn't for Dubravka, then it could have been game done by the first half. But he kept us in it, and that probably gave us confidence to go on and press Leicester. And obviously, we were clinical in front of goal.
Sorry.
And right. So yeah, it's got to be the keeper. He was immense today. World class saves all around. So it's got to be the keeper, Dubravka, for me.
100%, Pete.
You could go with a number of players. You could go Callum Wilson. You could go Joe Willock. But for me, Martin Dubravka, it has to be the one. because he's kept us in the game and he's kept us with an opportunity of winning the game, particularly in the first half. But you know what? I'm just so pleased to see a reaction from these players, because last week was so bad. And in a game where we didn't expect anything, these guys have come out and surprised us all tonight. And, you know, with it being Leicester and with it being a place that I live and with it being the place where I can torment like-minded people around me for the next week or so, I'm very, very happy about this. So Martin Dubravka all day long.
Yeah, Joe Willock's doing an interview now. He looks to be all right, and he looks pretty happy. So fingers crossed, that's a good sign that he's going to be okay. Babbo, your thoughts on man of the match?
I'm gonna give it to Shelby. No. Yeah, definitely Martin Dubravka. He kept us in it, and he's done a lot. The last couple of games actually just make us still have a chance at winning. So I feel like he should not be overlooked. We usually overlook the man between the sticks, and today we learned the value of a good one that we have.
Yeah.
It's hopefully, even if the takeover goes through or not, we just need to figure out how to run our club properly. Our club is not being run properly. We just need to figure out how to do that. Can we just, because every time I see a Newcastle player leave for free, I'm like, that's wages and transfer money you just let go. Please, someone just fix that. That's just a stepping stone to a better club. Yeah. And one last point I have is that anytime anyone on this panel says any of these players aren't good enough, I'm going to remind you of today, because people keep saying that thing. Oh, the players aren't good enough. I'm like, the same players finished 10th last season, so it's not the players. There's something in that club that we need to fix. So we need to figure what that is. But it's been a very lovely day.
Yeah,
they've done very well.
To be honest, I think that problem will be resolved as soon as Mike Ashley and Cole leave. I think those two go hand in hand.
It's bad juju.
Yeah. Daz, your thoughts?
My thoughts, Holly. On the pitch, around the 70th minute, I had 5 contenders for man of the match. At the end of the match, towards the end of the match, I had 2. And it was between Dubravka and Willock, and I'm going to give it to Willock. I'm going to go against the grain and go for Willock there. I thought he was immense. Took his goal well. He never gave up. He even got a ball that was surely going out for a throw or something, and he brought it in and he started another attack. So Willock, I want to see him signed in the summer, or definitely, if nothing else, get him on loan again next season. Off the pitch, Holly, you did a brilliant tonight. Really stuck it to Steve Wraith. So he's under pressure for the next day. So you're absolutely immense. Came on tonight expecting to get walloped, to get beaten, and hoping for a miracle. We got our miracle. We're now safe. Bring on the takeover. There's been an awful lot hard work by everyone behind the scenes as well, and Keith Patterson and loads and loads of people, and us all talking about this week on week and everything like that. So yeah, we've got our reward. We're safe. So now it's just a matter of getting that takeover over the line.
100%. Thanks, Stars. And yes, Willock has been great as well. Definitely deserves some recognition. Chris, finally, last but not least, your thoughts on man of the match?
That's Steve Hasty, Chris.
Oh, good. My hair's got that on the back.
That's a young Steve Hasty, and I've got no idea who this is, but Rich Story sent us this.
No, I know who that is.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah.
Batman, isn't it? Yeah, Batman.
This segment is sponsored by Alpecin.
Just for men, I think. Just for men.
Caffeine shampoo. I mean, what can you say about the match? None of us expected 6 goals out of it. I think Pete and I expected 4 goals, but evenly split. So yeah, they kind of took the foot off the gas pedal when they're up 4-0, which is unfortunate. I'd like to see them close out a clean sheet, but you got the 3 points in the bag. That's a safe 12 points above Fulham. And man of the match, wavered a little bit with those final 2 goals, but it's got to be Dubravka. He kept us in the match when we weren't scoring. and then kept us 2 or 3 goals ahead the whole match, and he's saved us so many points over the last couple of seasons. Definitely man of the match, and probably our MVP. So yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Yeah, so that's everyone's thoughts and man of the match. Really enjoyed hosting the show, so thanks for
Good job.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for the support. I'll hand it back to Steve to close.
Good stuff. Brilliant, Holly. You've been fantastic. I knew you wouldn't let me down. You were superb, very confident, and yeah, well done. And big shout out to Chris, to Daz, to Babbo, to Pete, to Dunnell. Well done on your debut, Dunnell. You're like a better looking Spenny. Al will yeah, well, we'll see whether we get a response from Spenny at some point. But
he follows me on Twitter. He might tweet me.
He probably will. He probably will. We just want to say deepest condolences to Ben Jacobs tonight, who's come off worse on a 4-2 defeat. But it's all right, Ben. You can always come back to your original team, which was, of course, Newcastle United. Yeah, I love that photo, Ben. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and Holly, well done again. And, we're going to be back for the worldwide show tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So look forward to seeing you all then. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're at.